not a problem. Good evening everybody and welcome to a brand new season of Touring Pro Series Virtual Clios. It's season 3 and you've welcomed us here to the opening round of the championship here at the Snetterton 200 circuit. Myself, Scott Woodwiss, and my colleague Liam Jenkins are going to be helping out, guiding you through the action tonight on what should promise to be an awesome season opener and one of Touring Pro Series' most popular racing leagues out there. Liam, obviously based on last season, I'm not sure how much intrigued about it. I think we're both kind of Clio novices on. But in terms of the come off the back of what was a fantastic season 2, how do you think season 3 is going to be shaping up?
Well, good afternoon everybody, and if the last season's anything to go by, this is going to be absolutely spectacular. This is probably easily one of the most competitive Touring Pro Series divisions that we've got, and it's just so great. I mean, the times are so close between all the drivers, and it's always going to be one of those series where literally anyone can win. You've just got to be in the right place at the right time and be willing to put it all on the line if needs be.
Absolutely right, and we should have a 40-strong car grid for this race. It is, as we said, one of the most popular series out there. Let's just bring you some action then of what's going on out on track if we can in a second. We'll bring you that in just a moment. You have to bear with me as I am on cameras this evening. So, have to try and suffer through to see if we can pick someone up on track for you. Let's give you your first pictures of Touring Pros of the Virtual Clio Season 3. That's the wrong video. There we go, that's better. We're going to give you Miguel Neto out there on the lap at the moment. In terms of the top drivers on the grid at the moment, Liam, let's just go through a few names that we have that are pretty familiar, and obviously you'll be familiar with some of them from the World Supertech series. Who do you reckon are going to be the main players in this season? Obviously, with the rain, I presume the rain champion is going to be racing this year. Apologies, my knowledge is a little bit basic as to what's going on with the entrance and stuff, but we'll patch on that in a moment. But, so who do you think are going to be the main players for this season, Liam?
Well, it's going to be very close. I mean, obviously you've got some of the major names in Touring Pro Series, such as Jesper Tolberg, Ryan Callen, the Davis brothers, and loads of other people like that. But then you've got these new guys pushing through as well. Guys like John Munro looking very competitive in the early stages of first practice. And with a track like Snetterton, it's more about consistency than speed. And you just got to be careful on how you approach the track. But I think, you know, as you say, there's a 40-car strong field today, and just about anyone can probably try and get their nose in. But looking at the times at the moment, Chris Butcher is leading by 3/10, and Butcher, a renowned Touring Pro Series driver, and of course Red Bull Gridsters 2012 champion, so he's no stranger to competitive racing, and he's just doing a little bit of a drift there as we take a look with him.
I think he's forgotten these things are front-wheel drive rather than rear-wheel drive, but credit to him anyway, that was a pretty impressive drift from him. But yeah, let's just talk about the circuit for a moment then. Snetterton, it's a circuit close to my heart, of course, because I am currently reside in Norfolk, and it's kind of like my second hometown, if you like, and Snetterton is my local track, so it's nice to see the season start off with a circuit like Snetterton. We're not using the 300 layout this time, we're using the, if you like, reversing to the slightly older layout with the 200 layout, and So in terms of the layout that we've got, it's a fairly fast layout, but there's going to be a couple of key corners on the circuit, particularly Coram. They have remodeled it, so instead of it being 2 corners, it's now kind of one long sweeping right-hander. And I think that's probably one of the key corners on the circuit. Would you agree, Liam?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if a lot of drivers haven't really driven a lot, I can't see why they wouldn't, because you need to be at the top of your game if you're going to be competitive here. But it can catch a lot of people out, especially if you've done various other leagues and you've been used to those 2 corners. Using the old 300 layout, and then of course having it merged into one can be a bit of a trickery there on the mind, and it can catch you out, especially if you're not concentrating mid-race, and it's very easy to do, and I think we could see a couple of incidents through there.
Absolutely. Well, we're currently just almost halfway through the qualifying session. Let's just quickly bring you down some of the times that we currently have on in terms of the quickest times in the session so far. You've seen the man there, Chris Butcher, who I think he's just warming up his tyres for another lap so far. He's currently top at 121.363. Then in second place, we'll find Mr. John Monroe, and there he is there, on a 121.666. We then have Miguel Neto, currently third, on a 121.711. And then Dan Allison, who's currently, let's give you a better camera angle on that, on a 121.766. And then Jesper Taldor, who I know you mentioned he was one of the top drivers in Touring Pro Series, at least I would consider him one of the best. Just looking at, let's just, if we can, look at some of the contenders who I think also could maybe spring some surprises. Some of the new names in there. Are there any kind of new names in there which you haven't recognised before that you think could maybe spring a surprise, Liam?
Well, as I said, I mean, guys like Monroe out there doing a good job at second in practice before qualifying. NATO's also there in third, and it's good to see, I think, these new guys coming through, but I think maybe the TPS legends, if you will, may have their work out for them today, because there are a lot of new guys coming into this series looking to make a name for themselves, and with a 40-car strong field, you've got some of the best sim racers in the world racing tonight, and there's no grander stage to kind of make your impression as a quality sim racer than here right now as John Monroe goes pole position. What would be in qualifying, of course, this is only practice, but nonetheless, I mean, I know John's still fairly young, there's still a lot of life in him, but guys like Lopez as well, they've got Florian Strauss up there in 10th, and there's just a lot of guys, I think, which could potentially shake up the top 10, if not maybe the entire field.
Absolutely. Just watching on board with John Monroe here, he's got, with 40 cars on the grid, there's going to be a lot of traffic going on, especially in qualifying here, so it's going to be key to try and find just that right amount of space and pick your moment just right to get that really special lap. Let's just ride on board with John Monroe here. We're coming down what's called the Bentley Straight, it was called the Bit Straight, into Murray's and then Nelson. This is a corner, it's one of those fast corners, very fast entry with the left hand, and then you have to quickly flip right and then make your approach down towards the bomb hole. And the bomb hole itself is a very odd corner. It's kind of like an off-camber right-hander as you go through here. And then the car will continue to go right as we then come towards the Coram corner, which we mentioned. Also 2 parts, and actually do a long sweeping left-hander. I think some drivers have to be careful and get the balance on the setup exactly right, because if they're not careful, if they're braking and turning at the same time, we could be seeing a few of these cars spinning, losing their rear ends. And the same is said about cars like this, is that the rear ends of these cars are so light you can spin them around these little fingers, so I have to be very careful under braking for some of these rather fast, high-speed sweeping corners.
Yeah, absolutely, it's very quick that time as well, and that again could be a bit of a factor, because it's not really a circuit where you have a chance to get a break. With circuits, which are a bit longer, such as maybe even the Brands GP layout, they're a bit longer and you've got a chance to chill out a bit through some of the straights, but then you get a circuit like Snetterton, then there really is no time at all to kind of relax a bit and gather your mental focus back. You've got to be full out, flat out acceleration and mental concentration around this track. It's one of the fastest circuits in the UK, and not only does it offer some of the most competitive racing, it kind of really develops you as a driver, I think, because you've got to be 100% focused all the time, and there's only one real kind of opportunity to maybe keep calm a bit, but even with a field such as 40, that's going to be a bit of an issue.
Most definitely, as we get to the near the kind of just gone over halfway through this qualifying session, let's just keep track of some of the other drivers that are in the field and what we have going on. Also, we'll use this opportunity to give you an idea, a flavour of where we're going to be visiting in the Virtual Clio Series. Let's take a look at the calendar, and as far as I can see, of course, we're starting here with a 20-lap race here at Snetterton. We're going to follow that up with, in 2 weeks' time, we're heading off to Lime Rock in Lime Rock, Connecticut, and then we're going to Thruxton. Then we're heading off to, I believe, Poland, Poznan GP circuit, the Verano circuit, and also Knock Hill will be next up on those 2 races, and then a fictional race at the Old Ring. We'll round out the championship. So obviously, we've got a very mix of different circuits there, and obviously, we're seeing a car sweeping off into the background. I'm not quite sure who that was. But a mix of different circuits, So I think we've got some high-speed ones such as Thruxton and Snetterton, and a few technical ones like Murano and Not Kill 'em alike. Do you think in certain circuits we're going to see certain drivers really stand out and shine compared? Basically, we're going to see some that are going to prefer the tight and twisty circuits compared to the open and fast courses such as here at Snetterton?
Yeah, absolutely, and it really does come down to personal preference through these circuits, and I think the guys at TPS have done a great job at compiling them, because you do get just about a bit of everything. You've got the circuits, as you say, were very fast, like Snetterton and Thruxton, and then you kind of got the slow down ones, like Murano. But I think the main factor will be, it's not a case of, okay, I'm going to do average here and then excel circuits like Snetterton, or I'm going to do average at Snetterton and excel later in the season and save my practice for that. To win this series or even be competitive and looking in the top half of the field, you've got to be fully committed to every track. If you don't like the style, you've got to practice it harder. And the guys that are going to really shine in this series are the ones that put maximum effort into every circuit, whether they like it or not so much.
Just in Chris Butcher there, I think was out on a current lap at the time. He was actually only about just under a tenth of a second over his best at the moment. It looks like he threw it away through that corner. It's one of those corners, like you said, that if you take liberties with it, it's not exactly going to be very pleasant for you. So you have to really be careful with those kind of corners. Let's just have a look down through some of the standings that we've got at the moment, looking down some of the drivers that maybe we'd expect to be a little bit higher up through the field. Got give a shout out to two drivers that I know from the GWC League, and that is Ben Warren and Timu Toika, I believe are going to be racing. Ben Warren is currently 17th, quickest on a 1:22.3 as the session is about to round out. And then we currently have in Timu Toika's back down to 34th for the 1:23.211. So intriguing to see how they get on, and hopefully it'll be a decent run, as we do now currently have our qualifying session over. We have to quickly switch to Toby Davis because he is on a real flyer of a lap at the moment. It's sector 1. He's currently quicker by about 8 tenths of about 8 thousandths of a second, I think. So he's definitely on a hot lap at the moment. He's heading through Nelson, and then camera's gone somewhere. I'm not sure what it's got to. Has he exited the lap? Let's see if we can go on board with him. Looks like he's actually stopped. So whether or not we're progressing to the next session, or whether or not there wasn't enough time for him to complete the lap, I'm not sure. But it looks like he was on course for a really fast time. Now it looks like it has actually gone to the looks at the Super Pole. So I think that was actually just practice made, possibly. Apologies if we sound a bit kind of ropey and a bit unaware of what we're doing. Of course, it's me and Liam, so I think that's our first time doing the Clio, so it's obviously the first time for us trying to figure out what's going on with the process. But I believe the Super Pole shootout, and I believe the rules here is that you get one single flying lap for each driver. You can go any time throughout the 10-minute session, and of course we've seen this kind of format in other races before, Liam, and of course I think you'd have to agree that when it comes down to getting that one perfect lap, it really does put a driver under pressure.
Yeah, absolutely, and with a lap as quick as Snetterton, as we've already established, it's going to be even more key, because look at all the cars immediately dashing to the end of the pit lane. 40 cars all trying to do the same thing, they've got the same ideas, all trying to be the first out on track and get a clean track, and we've spoken about in a lot of other series where track time can be quite crucial in terms of setting that all-important qualifying lap, but here, you've got 40 cars going around Snetterton, one of the tightest circuits in the UK. You're almost guaranteed some traffic, and it's going to be down to who can navigate their way past. You see Butcher doing a bit of a slide, maybe just trying to warm the tyres up to the max and almost drifting that clear around. And it's great to see him as well, but right now he's got to be careful because obviously there's plenty of traffic. We'll try and navigate their way around, and 40 cars at once. I think one of the main factors as well today is going to be the start, because trying to get into turn 1 and come out with all your bumpers still intact is going to be probably the most important thing you'll do this race. As long as you can get through the start cleanly, then just drive your normal race procedure. But with 40 cars, we keep saying, it's going to be extremely interesting to see who comes out of turn 1, and perhaps if one of the big names does not get through turn 1, but to even do that, I need a good qualifying position. So maybe one of the big guys today we could see a bit further down the field and have to work for that top 10, because you know this circuit really can shake up racing, and with a field as competitive as this and as close as it is, really can you know, get some of those big title contenders and put them a bit too far down the field for their own liking sometimes.
Well, we're watching Chris Butcher here. He's just started his lap for his quest for the first pole position of the season. And let's see how he takes it. Nice run through Etchies, and now what's called the Montreal hairpin. Brakes nice and hard before the 100-metre board. Just tucks the car in right to the centre of the apex in the middle of the corner, and it just flicks left. You normally go straight on to what's called the 300 layout. This did that development a couple of years ago. It's now the full layout now makes this one of the longest circuits in the country. I think it's second longest to possibly either Rockingmore or Croft. I think someone have to correct me on that one, but so maybe Cabell Park's in there as well. Nonetheless, here comes Butcher then down towards underneath the bridge, off of Bentley Straight, locks up a bit into Brundle and then into Nelson. And then up to that very fearsome bomb hole corner, and I think thankfully they didn't touch at that because it is probably one of the best corners on the circuit and one of the most legendary. It stood the test of time. Races that have taken place here, and we'll quickly hop on board then with the bonnet cam here as we head on board with Chris Butcher as he now has to pick his braking point and try and almost break time before he flicks left through Murray's. Takes a very wide line here, he missed the apex completely. Maybe that was the intended line, but we'll see here as David Catter goes to the top on a, what's that, Castle, excuse me, and then Gary Lennon jeeps him on a 122.926. Here comes Chris Butcher, and he goes straight to the top, 122.255. So already though, I think Jonathan Motteram in 4th place is going quicker. Let's see if we can jump with him. But he's gone back into the pits, so that's rather unfortunate. Here's John Monroe, he's going down Bentley Straight. John Monroe. I know that you raced the same team with him, so I mean, how much of a capable driver is John? I mean, obviously, is he one of those drivers that could possibly, as you said, spring a surprise as a rookie here today?
I think he definitely could. I mean, I've raced with him in kind of all types of racing as well, so from kind of oval rookie series and ARL right up to the SRO Touring Car Championship, and he's definitely kind of matured, I think, as a driver and really kind of just ironed out the mistakes and got that consistency level in, and he's always naturally fast as well, so it'll be interesting to see exactly what he's capable of today. Definitely one of the younger hotshots here and one to shake up the top 10, and his qualifying time isn't looking too bad either right now.
Ben Ryan jumps in 9th as Toby Davis, and he was on a purple first sector. What about his second sector? Has it got any better? We'll have to wait and see. It has. Look at that. He's up by 0.3 of a second, or just over. So Toby Davis on a fantastic flying laps could put him into the faster than 121.7. As John Monroe has indeed gone pole for a moment, but how long is that going to last? As Toby Davis rounds Murray's for his one and only lap, and this is going to be pole position. We flicks then almost straight lines the approach down the centre straight, and across the line he goes, and the time is going to put him up to top with a 120.461, a fantastic effort from Toby Davis there. So the moment Davis and Munro on the front row, but let's see if we can cycle through and see who else is on a rather fast. That's still got Ryan K. Jesper Talbot.
Jesper Talbot, yeah. He's definitely gone fastest, so you want to see what he can do. Coming down in 25th, and as we say, he's probably one of the most illustrated drivers in the whole of Touring Pro Series. He's won in just about every series there is, and there's only a few drivers to achieve that feat, so let's see what Talbot's got. Then he's got a little bit of traffic there, may have got a cheeky slipstream then as he comes down the centre straight. Is this going to be enough for pole position for Jesper Talbot, first one of the season? And there he goes 4th, but a very respectable time. But that just shows you that these kind of rookies and young guns coming in now can really affect this midfield, and really, as we say, drop a couple names out there. Talbot, we know we used to seeing him on the front row, and because the winds have changed, be blowing here around Snetterton. We're about to find out we've still got a fair few amount of drivers to set lap times. Ryan Callan, Ben Davis, all yet to set lap times. Tom Ely as well. All those three are definitely looking for a top 10 minimum, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do later on.
Absolutely, I've just seen Ryan Callan there. We'll quickly go back to him. So he's currently down the straight at the moment. Now, this is his outlap. I think it possibly is, because he's 1.9 seconds off the pace. So I think some of these drivers, I don't like Tom Ely. Tom Ely is usually a driver who I see who is usually racing in single seaters. I mean, he's got experience in Formula Sim racing and Grand Prix of the GPWC as well. So do you think some of these drivers who are more used to driving something with rear-wheel drive or single seat, do you think some drivers will find it a bit harder to adapt to front-wheel drive? Or do you think that some drivers who obviously have raced in this series before are kind of like a jack of all trades, so they find it easy to kind of switch from one car to another? Do you think there's some drivers that are like that, or do you think there are some which really do struggle to switch from a front-wheel drive car to a rear-wheel drive car, or vice versa?
It's almost like school exams, I think. Some people will excel in certain subjects, other people will kind of fail in the other ones, and there'll always be someone who just seems to succeed in just about every subject they do without realistically looking like they try that hard. But it's almost like a swan on water as well. It looks so beautiful when it's a swimming, but you don't really see how much hard work goes on underneath. And I think that's what we're seeing here, is that these guys who aren't really perhaps used to driving these different wheelers like the F1 cars or like the Indy cars, stuff like that, even on the ovals as well, are going to have a bit of a tough time today if they haven't practiced. So it's all going to be about how much work they put into this, and that's going to be reflected, I think, in their qualifying times and their race pace. And it all just depends as well, I think, of what you want out of the series. If you want to be winning it and getting podiums, then obviously you want to put more work in. If you just say, right, I want to be competitive, then you're not going to put as much in. So I think it's all going to be down to how much practice these guys have put in. And I know from talking to a lot of the drivers there, it's been a lot of practice.
Definitely, you're currently on board with Florian Strauss at the moment, so he's now going to currently start his qualifying lap. And one driver who's just to be absent from this race is William Levesque. I believe he's not. Either he is signed up or he hasn't decided to do partake in this series as the reigning champion. But we know obviously the likes of Callan, Butcher, Ely, Gary Lennon as well, Florian Strauss, and Toby Davis. All these guys, they finish behind him in the championship. I think these guys are going to be very hungry to try and snatch that title from him if he's not going to be taking part. Let's currently run through the grid then, see if there's got any surprises in there at all. Currently Toby Davis, as we watched him on top, the 121.461. Ahead of John Munro in second, 121.7. Miguel Neto currently in third, with 121.8. As currently Florian Strauss is off the fastest time of the session by 6.5 tenths of a second. So he's going to have to pull something major out if he wants to get himself anywhere near the front row. I think that's Chris Hack in fourth place with a 121.964. Then Jesper Talborg in fifth. Then Andrew Waring sixth. Dan Allison 7th, and Chris Butcher's still down at 8th, so obviously his lap wasn't as fantastic as he may have wanted. And then we've got Thomas Madzuski and Matt Richards rounding out the top 10. So, just to be said that Tom Ely's just popped up into 11th place, duping Diego Lopez. And then Ben Davis, from nowhere, Ben Davis pops into 2nd place with a 121.676. So, it's still Davis front row, so that should be quite intriguing as Florian Strauss heads across the line. And his time cropped up as... only 14th, 122.581. Are we surprised that he's that slow? Do you think we expected more from Strauss in this final?
Well, it's debatable. It all depends as well on the other guys around him and who's got that one lap pace and who maybe just saves it for the race. And I think that we're seeing that in the top 10 as well. We see a lot of guys that perhaps we would normally be used to seeing out there in the top 10. We've got guys like Monroe, as we've said, and just quickly taking a browse through the standings as well. I think they're going to have their work out. I mean, Chris Butcher, currently 9th position, Talborg's down in 6th there, as you see. And, while we're saying down it, for them, it's, quite a bad mindset. For us, it would be utterly fantastic. But there are a lot of guys which are going to shake this top 10 up. But having qualifying pace is one thing. Being able to keep it there and transpose that into a race pace is what's going to be the factor, I think, in separating the men from the boys around this circuit. Eric Tveit, you're seeing now, we're used to seeing him as a very, very quick competitor indeed across all divisions here in TPS. So let's see what Tveit's got in the tank. Then he's just starting his lap now. He's 3 tenths slower through the first sector of current pole sitter. So let's see where this time will put him. Of course, he's around halfway around the lap now. So it's still currently Davis lockout up front. The two THR drivers looking like they've got this track nailed in terms of qualifying. As we say, racing is just another factor. So let's see what Tveit does then. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. I don't think it should pay too much dividends. But he's a bit too far away at the moment. But we'll see what Tveit's got in the tank. Are we going to see a late shock here at Snetterton? He's another 3 tenths down there though, but still not too far away. And realistically, he's looking at maybe even a top 5 here if he can get it all together. So coming on to the end now then, let's see what Tveit's got. It's going to be flat out down here. It's all just in the hand of the gods. Hopefully he's done enough as he flies down the centre straight. Has Tveit got enough for a top 5 as he comes across the start-finish line? We're about to find out. He goes 8th. And that's just how competitive it was. I mean, that looked like a great lap as well, just by looking at him fly the car around. And it only puts him 8th, and I mean, as you said, it's quite a good time for him, but compared to some of these guys, I mean, that's a few tenths slower than pole. But right now, Toby Davis must be kind of rocking backwards and forwards in suspense, because right now he's provisionally pole, only by 2 tenths, 2 tenths, huge margin, and there's still a couple of other guys to do laps just yet. But it's looking provisionally like Toby Davis may just have that one, and yes, he does. So a THR lockout at the front, John Munro 3rd, Miguel Neto in P4, Chris Hack in 5th, followed by a fellow THR driver, Jesper Talborg, in 6th position. 7th is Andrew Waring, another man to shake up the top 10. Eric Tveit finishes in 8th. 9th position is Dan Allinson, and Chris Butcher is another THR driver in the top 10. So 4 THR drivers in the top 10. They look very, very handy right here today.
I think what's also incredible is that Toby Davis, I think, did hardly any practice before as I think he was helping us set the broadcast up, and so I think the fact that he managed to take pole by about 0.2 of a second with minimum practice, I think, is absolutely fantastic. It makes his beat even more amazing. So, but yeah, congratulations to him. That's been a fantastic job for him to manage to secure pole. Cycle down through the grid here so we can find a few more times. Tommy is only 13. Florian Strauss down in 15. Expected a bit more from Florian Strauss, if I'm honest. He is Mr. Virtual V8 Supercar. I know that I believe, you have to correct me if I'm wrong with him, but I believe his title was taken from him by a certain Jesper Talborg only a few nights ago, and I believe Talborg is now Virtual V8 Supercar champion. Looking through the grid more, Ben Warren's down 24th as well. Jonathan Asserclint is there too. Looking through as well, some more time, James Johnson down 31st. He was a very prominent runner, I know, up in the World Supertech Series up at the front at the previous round at Jakarta, I believe you pronounce track. And Ryan Callan, not 38th, and Bradley Valiant down in 40th as well. So some fairly big names down at the bottom of the field. So I think really it seems to be one of those seconds, as you said, that does intercept the men from the boys.
Yeah, and indeed it's all going to be about trying to transpose that into the race. We've got 3 minutes of warm-up left then, just the last chance for the drivers to get any final changes to the car in or get used to their race pace, because some drivers don't really do much in warm-up, and it can affect the race if they're used to driving the past, hour or so practice heading into qualifying on a qualifying setup. Going into a much heavier car is going to affect them more than it looks, I think, on track. But it's going to be interesting to see what the kind of warm-up times are. They won't really be too kind of judgmental as to what's going to be transposed over into the race, but nonetheless it is a bit of a sign of race pace depending on who's running on what setup. As you can see, a car stopped on the grid spots there. Maybe trying to practice race starts, and a good start here is absolutely key, as we've already established. Going into turn 1, you need the best run you can, and I think it's going to be inevitable. We're going to see some fireworks with the strength of the field like it is. It's a very, very long right-hander, and you've got to be careful, because I mean we're going to see at least maybe some 3-wide driving through here. With these Clios as well, it's just going to be surely end up someone spinning off into the gravel trap. Luckily here there is a lot of runoff areas, so you should not see too many retirements. And this series is very professionalised as well, but it's all going to be on who's going to be able to hold the lead going into turn 1. Hopefully, I mean we don't see another incident like we did in that World Supertech Series at the Jarapaglia Oval, and of course 2 of the THR boys unfortunately took each other out by accident. Hopefully we don't see that today, but right now the Davis brothers of course know each other inside out, being raised together, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can do in this series, as John Munro seems to go for a bit of an aerial view of the track.
He used to be practicing his helicopter flying skills there, although he seems to forget he's actually driving a Clio, not a helicopter, so hopefully he's got that sorted out, but nonetheless. So obviously, and that's a rather nasty collision there. Brian Callan just put me saying, am I okay with the controls? I'm just going to put him, yes, so let's have a look. Poke him and say, poke him on TeamSpeak, you understand, not literally physically poke him in real life, but
so not long left to go in warm-up then, 1 minute 30 left on the clock, and those final pre-race nerves maybe just setting in now for a few of the rookies in this series. Of course, this could be a career-defining moment for them as they get ready to try and push their way into the top 10 and get a snatch a good position. John Munro once again showing unrelenting pace there with a 1:21.5. That's 5 tenths quicker than second place man NATO. Now what's interesting, both these drivers have very much impressed us, I think, during qualifying. They've got very respectable results, and I think both of them are definitely going to be looking to try and get the most out of the Snetterton circuit, and I think they really could be major contenders here today. But of course, going to have to wait and see what happens during the race. It's going to be a very interesting one, to say the least, so don't go anywhere. So into the final minute of warm-up now, then you see Diogo Lopez going across the start-finish line. Another car goes airborne, so the aerial view seems to be catching on quite well at the moment. But into turn 1, and a 1:22.4, and I'm just taking a look at the actual times. It's very, very close. A lot of those guys that are doing 1:22s, 1:23s, and with a field of 40 cars, I think the slowest time was around a 1:29 competitively. So I think we could be on for a very, very close race today.
40 rather hungry Renault Clios around here. I think the noise these things makes are fantastic. If you've ever watched these Clios in real life, I actually did watch them I went actually up to Snetterton myself for the British touring cars. If you watch these for yourself, these things sound like little hornets. They're absolutely fantastic. Some of the racing they produce is absolutely brilliant. And well, if you've watched the Virtual Clio Series in the past, you'll know that the guys in these Virtual Clios can produce just as good, in some cases, if not even better rating than those in the real Clios. Of course, if anyone does follow the real Renault Clio Cup in the UK, you'll know that Lewis Hamilton's brother Nick Hamilton, excuse me, Anthony Hamilton's his father. It's Nick Hamilton. He does indeed take part in this series, because I do believe we are now heading to the race. So, I think based on qualifying and who usually sets the overall pace, if you had to pick someone who's possibly favourite to get a win, who would you say possibly is looking favourite to get themselves up to the top step of the podium in this evening's race?
Well, theoretically, you're going to have to say one of the Davis boys, either Toby or Ben. Of course, got to be careful, they are teammates, so it's going to be down to whether they want to work a team and go for constructors, or maybe one of them wants to try and get a bit of a sneak on the other and go for a victory. Of course, you've got two other THR drivers within the mix as well, Butcher and Talbot, very much within the mix, and also you've got a couple of the guys there maybe waiting to capitalise on an opportunity if it comes to them. So right now, I don't think have we got the green, or is this the pace lap? I think this is the pace lap. Yeah.
I believe it's just the pace lap, so as they head round, I have to very quickly run you through the grid then. As they stand, I'll give you the rundown of the probably 42 strong car grid that will set off here. Oops, I think the multi-BC car, is it on the... shouldn't be. No, it is back in the pitch, just be careful with that one. So, let's give you the rundown. So, I think they're actually being rather... it looks to be the warm-up, I should... But Toby Davis is on the front row. Well, so in fact, it might be the race start, I think, because we're just seeing here, we've got Munro and Davis are going side by side here down towards the Bentley Straight. I'm actually not sure if this actually even is the start or if it's the warm-up lap. But so they're heading down towards Murray's and Nelson's, and that looks to be John Munro has actually got to second place. This could even be the start of the race. So Munro is currently second there, but Davis is currently leading. And there's a lot of oh dear, that was not meant to happen. That's unfortunately put that on the poster there. I think we've had some technical problems, unfortunately. Okay then. Again, apologies for this. Me and Liam are novices doing this. We've done many broadcasts before, but we're going to have to possibly touch with someone and get this sorted out for you, because this is not looking good, I don't think. Possibly need to try and... Yeah, apologies for this, guys. I'm just trying to get these technical issues sorted. Of course, these were completely unexpected, so hopefully we can get these sorted out for you and get them done as soon as possible. So we're going to try and get this sorted out for as quick as we can. Hopefully you won't have to cancel the broadcast, but I think for the moment we're going to have to probably just keep track of what's going on our screens, exactly what's going on until we get this sorted. I can see that John Munro has now taken the lead at the moment, as now head down towards... I'm just trying to keep track. So Munro's currently leading from the Davis, and then got Andrew Waring in fourth, Jesper Talborg in fifth place. Down Allison in sixth, so pretty intriguing battle up at the front as they start lap 3. But yeah, I don't think things have gone as quite as we planned them, have they, in terms of the pictures? Because it seems to be we've possibly lost them for a while.
I was going to try and get on the live timing and try and bring you guys some information as to who's doing what times and what's actually happening.
unfortunately, what doesn't help as well, because I'm trying to look at the race through my own kind of spectating on the server. It seems to be with a full 40 car field, despite the graphics being on as low as they can. It just seems to be lagging quite a bit, so I'm having a bit of trouble trying to keep track with that as well. But I can tell you for a fact that John Monroe is leading from Toby and Ben Davis in that order. But yes, Talbog's now up to 4th, ahead of Allenson, Hack, Neto, then Butcher, Ely, and Eric Tvite's just passed Tom Ely, so Eric Tvite's up to, but there's a bit of a battle going, I can see, for 10th place between Diego Lopez and Tom Ely. So there's a lot going on at the moment between this lot. A slipstreaming down the back straight. I can see this is actually to that group. Edie and Lopez. I can see that Edie's trying to go down the outside of Tvite. They go up towards Brundle and Nelson's. As the guys just up at the front of the pack still battle on. And Edie round the outside, I can see, of Eric Tvite. He's up to 9th place. I think there's some scrapping on just runs as well. Let's have a look and see if I can quickly have a look at that. I can see there's a massive gaggle of cars going on with the Chris Butcher just behind in the back of that field in 8th. But then he's got Neto and Hack to try and get through. Make their way through Coram and then through Murray's. Try and get this resolved for you because we can. Hopefully we can bring you some more pictures, but we are a little bit stuck. So unfortunately we are trying to get this sorted as best we can. If we have to, we'll try and jump into the server and spectate for you. So there won't be any overlays if that's the case, and again, apologies for that, but we'll try and get in as best we can. See if I can find the server for you. Liam, is anything you can see at the moment that's happening on the live timing that you can possibly report on?
No, struggling to get the live timing up at the moment. I think the live time may have shut off for the race for some reason. Still trying to work on that one for you, so I'll try and keep you updated as soon as possible.
Problem. So I'm just trying to find the server here so we can get you back in. Again, apologies for this, guys. We had some unexpected technical problems with rFactor. We are trying to get them to get ourselves back into the server whichever way we can. We are going to try and get back in just as a spectator. Hopefully we can at least give you some circuit action that we can give you. Unfortunately, there's been maybe a chance we won't see any overlays possibly, but if that is the case, apologies for that. But unless we can actually get a car physically back into the server, which in this case, unfortunately we can't. It does look as though, I think, let's have a look if are we going to get any overlays? No, I don't think we are. But I think we can possibly at least give you some images of what's going on. We'll have to go by live timing what we can see. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to basically give you as best we can the footage that you're seeing on the screen right now. So you have to bear with us at the moment. But this is how they look at the moment as they go across the stripe. As far as I can see, it is actually John Monroe leading from Toby and Ben Davis as they head into turn 1. They're smoking away, and Toby Davis has got the inside line, I think, down towards the Montreal hairpin. In fact, Toby Davis looking for, obviously, as they head down under braking. Ben Davis trying to go around the outside, but Toby Davis doesn't dictate the line, and Ben's trying to get himself on the inside, and they make contact. And John Monroe and Ben Davis gets his ears shoved onto the grass. And here comes Jesper Talbog as so the TH really are ganging up on the MTR racing machine of John Monroe at the moment. But I think at the moment it seems to be just a case that really it's all kind of seems to be THR at the moment. They're really kind of fending off. MTR is fending off the likes of THR. I can see there's 4 THR cars now in the top 5. And we've now got Toby Davis leading from Monroe, then Talbog, Ben Davis and Chris Butcher running out the top 5. So really, John Monroe's kind of out on his own at the moment. He's got no support. He has just nothing but THR cars around him.
Yeah, absolutely. And Monroe, I think, may have had a bit of an induction to touring cars there as he got some side banging on. And now he's still, nonetheless, though, keeping on to the rear end of Toby Davis, who goes a bit wide there. Will Monroe capitalise or no? They come down the start finish straight there and have a prime opportunity to get in that slipstream, perhaps try and make a manoeuvre as the rest of the field snake through. Still good to see a load of them still in the race and not too many casualties, I don't think, just yet. Monroe has a cheeky look there, but just can't quite get the momentum as they go into turn 1. You can see the smoke coming off the tyres, how hard they're pushing these cars at the moment. Talbog's in third, just behind, in front of Ben Davis, so still Toby leading at the moment. THR have had an exceptional start to the race. You can see them all snake through the chicane at the moment, and Monroe seems to be the man splitting them. Will anyone else try and get their £2 a think? We're still yet to see, but they're all kind of keeping with him. It's a long train, and I'm sure we are going to see some overtaking action very, very soon.
catching the ball with Miguel Neto as he's heading down the back straight here. He's looking back here at so I can check my time to see who this is. He is fending off Eric Devine at the no, Dan Allison, excuse me. This is for 7th and 8th place as they battle on through Nelson's corner. Be that for the moment, looks to be that these guys, this kind of train of 8 cars seems to be just pulling away from the rest of the field at the moment. I can see just leading in. There's a bit of a 2-car group which features, I think, looks like Eric Devine and Tom Elia battling away in the outside of the top 10, but it seems to be that the THR cars are starting to stack up really a little bit more here. I know that both THR and Optimus will have 8 cars apiece. Nesso goes very wide, just puts down Allison on his outside down towards Rich's. They'll go down the pit straight side by side, and I think Allison may just have the run because he's got a cleaner exit, and he does. Comes across the front of Netto's car. This will now give Netto the slipstream down towards Rich's. Darts out. Is he going to try it down the inside? No, he decides to dart back in and think about a move into the Montreal hairpin if he's in post. In fact, look at it, he goes very wide on the exit, and he's now going to try and get into Montreal. No, not quite. He's backing off again. So these guys really are battling for the sort of places in the top 10. But really, we have to quick go back up the front because I think that the battle is still raging on between the THR cars as we quickly look up here. And it is still Toby Davis, we can see, leading the pack from Munro, then Talbot, Davis, Butcher, Clack, Allenson, Netto, then Dwight and Tom Ely just outside the top 10 garage. Then there's 11, Tommy Oyala is 12th, and Thomas Matsuski is 13th. But we're now currently on lap number 8 of 19, and I think the car off to the side, I think it possibly is. Car off to the side right on the exit of the bomb hole, so maybe there was someone out of the race, but Alborg, I think, is just thinking about having a look on Monroe, who himself is on the attack on the back of Toby Davis's machine. And I wonder if it's possible that the Alborg leading this trio of THR cars behind, and there's lots of lockups going on in the background, as now down the front straight they go, and Davis and Monroe. Monroe has a bit of a look, just peeks out from on the inside and thinking about it. And just how much pressure do you think Toby is withstanding here? Obviously he's got Monroe right in his bumper, and I think unless he's not careful he will actually make a move, and it may even be the case that there will be THRs all together, but not necessarily all on the podium at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, but Toby's no stranger to competing up front either. He's one of the only drivers to get a win in all Touring Pro Series divisions, I believe, so no stranger to leading the race, and I'm sure that the pressure will not be too large. I mean, he's got some really gunner support of his fellow THR drivers just behind him, but for now Monroe's got to be careful because we've seen it so many times here across all different TPS divisions. If you go for a move and it doesn't stick, you're going to have another car stream up your inside, and before you know it you could easily lose 3 or 4 positions. Monroe doesn't seem to be focused on any of that as he got a nice and up close view there of Toby Davis's rear bumper. So here they come one more time. Let's see if Monroe can just get enough momentum, and he may have just gone a bit wide through. That's the only problem with trying to slipstream a car through his right hander, is that you're just going to lose so much downforce and always ends up going wide a lot of the time. And right now Monroe bounces back onto the circuit after going wide down the straight, and he won't have enough momentum this time. And now he's just going to start thinking about when to make the manoeuvre, when's going to be the best opportunity, because the last thing you want to do is try and force one that isn't there and possibly cost you a second place. Then the clear to second place is extremely hard to accomplish, especially when you've got a whole load of THR guys all around you, and they're all sticking with it as well. There's no lack of speed there, because Monroe seems to be the odd one out at the moment. It's the THR frenzy back towards the front of the field, and right now Monroe come under increasing pressure from Jesper Talborg. So let's see what Talborg's got then. Here he goes, number 19. Let's see what he's got. He's got a prime slipstream now. He's almost pushing him down the straight. Is he going to look for a manoeuvre or no? Monroe's still yet undecided on his position. Let's Talborg very down into the outside or inside line for this corner. Monroe brakes later, providing doesn't outbrake himself. No, he doesn't, so good defending there. And he may have gone a bit deep, and is he going to have a look? No, but Monroe definitely, even if he hasn't just got the speed to be in qualifying, he's definitely got something there, because he's managing to hold it up there with the big boys, all the THR guys trying to jostle over positions, and Monroe seems to be the only guy from another team who's there at the moment, so hats off to him.
And definitely, we are just gone past halfway in this opening round of the... Oh, was that a car from the background? Who was that?
I think that may have been Chris Butcher. That's Chris Butcher, yeah.
It is Chris Butcher.
And he's got it back on track. And luckily, I mean, the rest of the field...
We'll do a replay of that. Let's quickly see if we can grab a replay of what happened there. Replay camp. I can't actually, don't know what the replay function function is, unfortunately, for that on the German keyboard, but nonetheless. We caught Chris Butcher there, and look at these three all bunched up together. Talborg's now going to look on the inside of Munro. Munro himself's going to try and go down the inside of Davis, so...
Oh, and there's a bit of a nudge there. I think Davis did very well to hang on, and now look at Ben Davis almost trying to go at the inside of Talborg there, who scrambles across the track. It's getting very frantic at the front. Munro somehow finds a way round the outside. He's getting a bit of a push show from Jesper Talborg. He's being pushed right to the outside of the circuit. It's a flat-out drag race down here. The question is, who's got more speed and more guts to try and make the move? Talborg trying to dart across as well. Get in the front of Toby Davis, who sweeps around the outside. That's a gutsy manoeuvre. Munro still on the outside, and somehow Davis holds on despite the oncoming pressure from John Munro and Jesper Talborg. Incredible stuff at the front here.
Looking back now from John Munro's car, the feisty number 19, Jesper Talborg. Look at that, darting one way and then the other. He's desperate to get past and try and help out his teammate Toby Davis at the front. And now Munro's having to redefend. Of course, as a newcomer to these clears, he's definitely showing he's got some fight in him as they head on the pit straight once again. And look at also Ben Davis in fourth place, right on the rear bumper of Jesper Talborg as they head down the straight. Also got Chris Hack there in fifth place, just holding off Chris Butcher in sixth. But look at this slipstream. Like four very angry Hornets. They're going down towards the Riches once again. And literally, you can throw a blanket over them, quite literally, because they're so close together. As Munro darts wide, Talborg's up the inside, down through Riches, up towards the Melbourne hairpin. Ben Davis may go with him. They're literally nose to tail. Talborg up the inside of Munro and into second place. Shoves him wide.
How did he keep it on? And Ben Davis went through. Davis went through. And now look at Munro coming back, reluctant to let that slip without a fight, just playing with one of the all-time greats at Touring Pro Series, and he's got to be loving every moment of this. He's got a Chris Hack there in the background as Munro tries to get side by side. Talborg may have more momentum, he does, but nonetheless Munro still not going to give up the fight. Looks up the inside once again. Oh, it's contact! He's in both of them, and Talborg goes off, and I think he may have collected Ben Davis as well, but that was luckily no casualty. Yeah, there is Ben Davis. And he's struggling now, he's got back on, but he's lost so much ground, and there may be an appeal after the race, I think.
Look at Chris Hackler, fourth place. He never expected to be battling up at the front here, but nonetheless, he's really giving it some, goes a bit wide, but he's right on the back bumper here of John Munro as they head up. Look at that, these Renault Clears constantly locking up under braking. He's currently fourth. Let's look back now. There is currently, look, Chris Butcher in fifth. So there's a car from the background as well, and who's that? And who is that? It's Ben Davis up to Tom Ely. Tom Ely has gone off at Murray's corner. He's going to be closed by Florian Strauss. Florian Strauss, look at that, he's up to what must be something like 8th or 9th place. But yeah, look, he's up to 11th. Brilliant stuff. He's starting about 3rd on the grid. And having a great run so far, so he's really getting up there, up into the top 10. Back up to the front. See what's going on here as Hack goes up the inside of Munro, and Chris Hack is in 3rd place now. So that pink, white and black machine is up into 3rd place now. He can start chasing down the THR cars, but for how much longer? As Munro grabs a wonderful little slipstream down the Bentley straight, and he will then looks like he's on the inside to easily reclaim 3rd place from Hack as they head down towards the bridge. Then the braking for Brundle and Nelsons, and also Chris Butcher and Ben Davis just in the background. Davis and Toby Davis and Talborg flick through and continue the rest of the lap. But I think definitely Munro's definitely mixing it in this first ever Clio race thing. Definitely taking the fight to the THR boys at least.
Oh, absolutely, and you can see Butcher as well just behind Hack now. That's what we were talking about there. If you're consistently there doing these good lap times up with the big boys, you will be able to capitalise on an opportunity, and that's what Chris Hack has done, and as is Chris Butcher. Ben Davis still there, but I'm pretty sure if him and Munro ever make some sort of battle again, there won't be any lost feelings between those two, as Chris Hack now tried to get a bit of a slipstream on Munro, but Munro trying to focus on getting back out the front in towards Jesper Talborg and Toby Davis, who's seemingly going to take a THR 1-2. Munro still holding off Hack at the moment. Butcher's got to run on the inside. Can he make it stick? Hack's going to push him as they go through the right-hander. Let's see what Butcher can do. And I think Chris Hack played that very safely and gave him plenty of room. Last thing you want to do is take yourself out as well, and trying to attempt to make a defensive manoeuvre. Hack's so reluctant to do that and get the position back. The famous number 182 on the car. Let's see if he can get a nice enough run on the back of Chris Butcher. Butcher desperate to find something more from this series and get himself in that top 5. He's done so at the moment. He's currently in 4th. This is about fourth position, and 3rd if you will, with John Munro got a very, very wiggly there coming out of the chicane into the right-hander. Let's see what Butcher can do. He's all over the back of Munro now. He's already taken Hack. It's going to be 2 cars in 1 lap. Thinks better of it. He's been racing for a long time, Chris Butcher. He knows how to get his race in gear, if you will, and get it all proceeded very nicely. Let's see what he can do on John Munro. However, Munro's gone wide. Is he going to spin it? No, he's not. Whoa! And that was, how did he keep out of Chris Butcher's front bumper there? I will never know. But there's 3 wide coming down the straight. Butcher, Munro, Hack into turn 1. It's got to be tense. Question is, who's going to have the line? Munro may just be out of this one. And you can see them all very sensibly backing out of that. That could have surely only ended badly.
Amazing stuff, 3 wide now. Hack has the advantage. He's now into 3rd place, but it's not over yet. Look at Butcher trying to get back up the inside, down towards the Montreal corner. Munro's going to go around the outside. Amazingly outbreaks himself, and now it's going to have Ben Davis through. I think also looks like it was a scruffy run through the Montreal hairpin from Chris Butcher. Now, if you look back now on the rear wing, there is John Munro eagerly trying to play 4th place back from the THR driver, getting slowly closer. Oh, that's race raging for Butcher. Look at that, forcing him right to the inside of the track. One of the stewards will take lightly to that one, but then again, I suppose the Butcher will argue that was one move, but then again, into Brundle and then Nelson they go, as Chris Hack hops over the curb there, and was there a bit of a pass going on between 2 cars behind there, as I think that's Allenson.
That's Nathan is behind as well. So let's see what he can do then. The Italian definitely looking feisty right now, trying to take another position. These 2 have been duelling for quite some time. Let's see what he's got in the tank then, as he tries to just get a bit of a draft going into the second half of the lap then, and get brake very late. It's so hard not to make contact or get yourself offline, especially when the majority of your view outside your window is going to be just the car in front of you. These are essentially only little matchbox cars compared to the V8s or the cars used in the Touring Masters, so it's very hard to get a view of the track and the car in front, and you're basically relying on your knowledge and your instincts to get a decent time and maybe even a decent run as well. You see Butcher once again trying to get Hack now. He's moved to the front of this pack. So Chris Hack definitely the man on the move. He's very much impressed, sporting another pink livery. So he's he's impressed me this afternoon. So have to see what he can do and maybe even push on further. But right now the 2 THR boys still holding it out very nicely up front. Davis and Tolberg still leading on a 1-2 at the moment. You can see just behind Hack's bringing the cavalry with him, of course, of Chris Butcher and John Munro. So the question is, which one of those 3 can get into 3rd position, because it's a very prestigious thing to get a podium here in the Clio Series, just knowing how competitive it is. And Tolberg goes wide, but he is getting a much needed run from Toby Davis, so let's see what he can do here then, because he's getting ever closer, and Davis has to be aware of this. They may be teammates, but on track it may come down to who wants to win the Drivers' Championship. The more points you can score in the early rounds, the better, and they have to realise this.
Max is back in 3rd place. A little touch on Toby Davis again. Albon was getting very close to the back end of his car. He's definitely capitalising on any mistakes that Davis is making. He made a bit of a scruffy run through Brundle and Nelson, and that put him onto the back of him fairly quickly. Speaking of on the back of him, look at this, we've got Chris Butcher again, just looking for 3rd place to make it a THR 1, 2, 3. He's got the inside run down towards Richie's corner, as he managed to make it stick. Hack's going to be brave, trying to go around the outside. You're going to be shoved onto the grass. No, Butcher leads him run. There's a bit of body contact there down towards Montreal hairpin, and Munro's just sitting back thinking, I'll just watch this and relax. As Chris Hack goes wide.
Oh, and a bit of a tap
between this time Hack and Munro. Ben Davis looks like he can get into this as well. But this makes it a 4-car train down the Bentley straight. And just how close now can Hack get now? As he's going to go quickly back on board with him on the bonnet camera. There's John Munro down the Bentley straight towards the under the bridge towards what was the S's once again, and just how much pressure do you think will obviously whoever's fronting this
Munro's gone deep. Here comes Hack. Sorry to interrupt you there, and Hack almost had a look in. I think that was the chain reaction as Butch tried a bit of a squiggly entry as well. But what's interesting to see here, you can see Ben Davis very rapidly approaching the rear end of Chris Hack, and you can see in front John Munro, the man who put him down there. So I'm sure that when these 2 once again do battle, it's going to be a lot less friendly than we saw before, and Ben Davis will be a lot more trying to get the job done quicker sooner than later. As you can see, Hack got a much better run than John Munro through there. Is he going to pull alongside? No, he's not. He's trying to. Down the home stretch. Here we go then. It's a drag race once again, and he's just edging out. Thing is, these clears are so evenly matched in terms of speed, and right now, here we go. He's trying to win it again up the inside to turn 1. He's not going to get the job done, I don't think. Munro sweeps it round and keeps the position, but Ben Davis is right on the tail as Butcher slowly sweeps off into the distance.
think we're on the penultimate lap. My reading on my lap time counter I can see on my current server thing. We're currently on lap number 18. So 2 laps to go. So if these guys want to get themselves onto a podium, in fact, they're going to have to really sort it out amongst themselves. In fact, this is it's currently a THR 1, 2, 3 at the moment. But there's obviously as much as you see in their third place is battling away. But it's this trio here trying to be best of the rest at the moment. This is the first of the non-podium finishes, if you like. Currently Munro holds that title ahead of Hack. And there goes Ben Davis up the inside. He's got the run through. Oh, there's contact, and there goes Chris Hack. I think possibly now was that Hack turning into Davis there? Was that Davis not giving enough room? We'll have to wait and see afterwards. But this is now the crucial thing because it's such a small car, but with all these cars flashing through the picture, they're going to have to be careful to try and find a way back across the track. He does so, and I'm going to quickly check and see exactly where he's dropped down to. We'll get back to this battle here up at the front going on for 4th place. I can see that Chris Hack is down to 12th place, so it hasn't really worked out the result for him. It's a start the last lap, and it looks like it's going to be a victory for Toby Davis up at the front, and it looks like it's going to be a THR 1, 2, 3, but is it going to be a THR 1, 2, 3, 4, I wonder, as Ben Davis is now right on the tail of John Munro. He's trying to make it 4 THR cars in the top 5 in the first 4 positions. Will he be able to make that stick? He is now up the inside, down towards Montreal. Hairpin swings back into the inside to get another toe. And again, will he try and lay down the brakes into Montreal? He does. He forces Monroe wide, and he does make it sticky for the moment. So Ben Davis makes it a THR 1, 2, 3, 4 on the final lap down the Bentley Straight. But it's not over yet. Here they come then. Down the Bentley Straight once again. Monroe is swarming over the back of Davis' THR car. Goes to the outside down towards Brundle and Nelson's. Light wheel rubbing there down towards underneath the bridge, and is Munro going to be brave to go around the outside? Question it. Answer to that is not quite. There's a bit of contact, but Ben Davis holds him off for the moment, and
Davis gone wide though. And there's some action now as well. This is for the lead, I think, and this is going to be that's Toby Davis and Jesper Tolberg. Which of these is going to win? It looks like Davis is there. A late twist in the tail though here at race 1 at Snetterton. It's not over until the checkered flag falls. We're seeing a prime example, but it's Toby Davis who wins the opening round of the Virtual Clio Series Season 3, followed very closely indeed by Jesper Tolberg, but he will be extremely happy with that one. The battle for 3rd place rages on, but it's going to be a THR 1, 2, 3. Munro looks to the inside. He just couldn't get it done. So Munro comes home in 4th, just behind Ben Davis. He fought very hard to get that one back, and that must be a sense of redemption for him. The rest of the field comes flying through now, but wow, that was just incredible end. So it was already a fantastic race. We apologise for the broadcast issues at the start. Hopefully we will get the entire of qualifying 2 and race 2 into the broadcast, so don't go anywhere. There's still plenty more action to come from Snetterton, as I think Scott will try and run you down the standings now.
Absolutely. Let's quickly run down the finishing order whilst I still have it on my screen. It was indeed Toby Davis taking the race victory by 0.3 of a second from his teammate Jesper Talborg, and then Chris Butchie in 3rd and Ben Davis just holding on to 4th to indeed make it a THR 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be extremely crucial for them to get that's probably the best possible start they can probably get it. Even better could have been they got the first all 8 of their cars in the first 8 positions, but they'll take the first 4, that's not a problem. John Munro losing out there and only managed 5th place, but just missing out on 4th there. Then had Miguel Neto was 6th, Eric Dwight was 7th, head of Dan Allison at 8th, Tommy Lee 9th, and Hugo Gonçalves was in 10th place, rounding out that top 10. Florian Strauss started back down at the 30th positions, but he's managed to get up to 11th place by the end of the race. Chris Hack was down to 12th after his contact with Ben Davis on the penultimate lap. Gary Lennon finished 13th, ahead of Karamadaru Bogdan in 14th, and Darren Adams in 15th, and then the rest of the field that I can see in order. It was Verdastonk in 16th, James Johnson down in 17th. Doesn't really seem to be favouring the Clios compared to his beloved World Supertech Series Brazilian V8 stock cars. And Thomas Matsuski in 18th. Strolling down through the rest of the field as far as I can see, we've got Alexander Rhodes in 19th, Elijah Bracalo in 20th, then Waring Musgrove. I'll scroll down to the results here, but my screen's lagging a little bit here. Asa Clint was 15th, ahead of 23rd, excuse me, ahead of Petzold, Tom Nobin and Scott Sovic, Team Troika. Ilivanov was 28th, and Fernandez, Karaduk, Roberts, Ben Warren was 32nd. Head of David Carter and Mike Bishop. Ryan Callan only 35th, and he actually retired with suspension failure. The retirement staying from Ryan Callan downwards for Ryan Callan, Tommy Ayala, Diogo Lopez, Luke McDowell, Jonathan Motteram, Mike Bell, and I think we've got a couple more at the bottom here. Yeah, Bradley Vanya retired as well on the first lap, so we didn't catch that unfortunately. And that was it. We only had 41 cars in the field, so it is then a win, as we said, for a 1, 2, 3, 4, a clean sweep of the first 4 places for THR. And just looking back at what we saw on that race, I think definitely THR seemed to be they're definitely the dominant force in series such as V8 Supercars and also in the Supertech series. And based on that performance in Snetterton, looks to be they're trying to sell up the Virtual Clio Series as well. By that performance, with their look at that 4 cars in the first 5 places.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems to have just absolutely perfected the race strategy there, and as everything went to plan, it was good to see some intense action in the midfield, though. Obviously, we had John Munro getting himself up there and very much in the mix of the THRs. And it's going to be interesting to see, of course, his second qualifying session really can shake up the order. We've got another race to go, of course, so plenty of action still to come. But the question is, can they perfect that, maybe even better it, as we go into race 2? And an all THR top 5 would really be sending out a message to the other title contenders.
Absolutely. We're obviously waiting for race 2, another 20 laps of racing. Hopefully, as to wait. We might see if we can probably try and get our broadcast issues sorted for you in the meantime, so we can maybe have with both looking after this. But if not, we'll have to just make do with the full screen without the timing. So, but nonetheless. I think definitely some other drivers that definitely showed their worth. I have to agree, John Munro and Chris Hack, 2 very prominent drivers, seem to be 2 drivers that came through and showed their worth in the Clios. Do you think that's all they're going to be able to get stronger throughout as the season goes on? Do you think that possibly Snetterton's maybe a one-off? And as we said, do you think they're going to be drivers that favour these faster tracks, such as Thruxton and the Snetterton here? Do you think that's just going to be a specialist here, or do you reckon they're going to be excel at the twisty circuits as well?
Well, I think from what I've seen, we've seen, like, obviously the THR guys, they consist of some of the most talented drivers in the Touring Pro Series, guys such as Jesper Tolberg, such as Toby Davis, as we've seen, and Ben Davis, for that matter, as well. Chris Butcher also a very, very competitive driver. And these guys seem to be able to transpose their skills across all different types of vehicles, no matter what the vehicle is or what the track is. They always seem to shine, and if it's not a victory or a podium, it's definitely going to be a top 5 as Munro leaves the pit lane. I think that we're going to see THR once again be very, very competitive, if not at the forefront of the action during race 2, but qualifying can also be key. You need a good session to try and get this underway, and of course a good position we saw really can be vital, especially if you want to mix it up with the big boys, and perhaps one of them drops off as well. So we're going to have to wait and see who can do the best lap. Of course, it is a Super Pole format, as we've said, so 1 flying lap, and then it's all over. So Munro trying to get the cleanest track possible. He has got some cars behind him, but he's got to be careful. He wants to try and break those. The last thing you want to do is, if there is a slightly faster car than you, be holding them up on their flying lap, because you could get a potential penalty after the race for impeding on a flying lap. So it's got to be careful, and with 40 cars, that may be a very substantial problem.
Definitely, it's... Okay, what I'm going to quickly just put you on to, not the video, the poster for a second. What we're going to quickly do is exit out of here, and we're going to rejoin the session very quickly, and we're going to try and get you the overlay so at least we can see, we can tell what's going on, what happened to results of live timing. Let's just quickly do this for you, but obviously going back to the performance, would you expect, obviously depending on what happens in qualifying, would you expect the THR cars to be the strongest again? Do you think that possibly was just them getting lucky as a result of some rather less than average qualifying results from some of the more well-renowned drivers in Touring Pro Series? Do you think they possibly got lucky, or is that purely just pure speed for our guys out there?
Well, I think the second race is really trying to, going to clarify that for sure, and I think the main key here will be qualifying and see who can try and get their name up there. But I think the likes of Ryan Callan, who didn't perhaps make it as far as they'd like to in the first race, will be looking for redemption, and we did see a couple of those big names, not too much towards the forefront of the field, so they'll be looking to rectify that during the second qualifying session. So I think the second race we could see a bit of a differential in terms of how the field shape out, but I think that in terms of raw pace, THR definitely seem to be the men holding the torch bearers at the moment.
And also just talking about, going back to Chris Hack, he really got himself amongst the leaders in that race. Do you think that he'll be somewhat disappointed that he got involved in the incident between himself and Ben Davis? Do you think it's something that he'll be brewing, or do you think they'll just spur him on to get a better result in race 2 here at Snetterton? Do you think it's really going to drive him on to get himself a better finish in next time round?
Well, it's going to be all down to driver preference, I think, at the end of the day. It's going to be down to how it affects you as a person. If something happens to you during a race which can affect the big result, it can actually dampen your mindset for the next race, and that can be a bit crucial, but it depends how it is. I think, knowing Chris, he's going to definitely want to try and improve that, and I think you've got to take the positives. He knows he's got the pace to get a top 5 position, and he knows he can also try and achieve that, and definitely maybe even push even harder. He knows he's been fighting up there for a podium. So it's not like he hasn't got the pace, and if he can remember that and then just try and get a bit better in the qualifying sessions, we do officially have the overlays back for you now, so it should be a bit easier to call this race. But I think that he should really try and take the positives and really drive him on to achieve something greater. Of course, he did have an unfortunate end to race 1, so we'll be looking to change that in race 2 as we wait for the first set of times to really come flooding in. James Johnson, normally a name we're used to seeing at the front of the field, of course a THR driver as well. And didn't really have the best of races, so we're looking to try and once again rectify that as we're looking through the standings at the moment. And Toby Davis, once again, seems to be the man on a mission, looking to take 100% pole positions at the moment, as he's on a 121.6, a tenth faster than John Munro. Ben Warren strung together a good lap there, currently in P3. James Johnson goes 4th, Butcher leaves the pits, and Jesper Tolberg about to start a lap. So after this then, the man who came second place overall in race 1, let's see what he's got as he tries to have a second attempt at qualifying here at Snetterton, and to better his position needs to try and get a better starting one, because although it did pan out for him very nicely in the first race starting from where he did, he would love an easier start to try and pan towards the front of the field as soon as possible, and there's not too much in the way of traffic either, so it should be really Tolberg versus the track at the moment.
On board here with Talbot down the back straight, Dan Bentley towards the bridge for the lap that he's on at the moment. Currently 14th, there's a car to the side there, didn't quite catch who it was, but down into braking area he goes, and let's see exactly what his second time is going to come up as. He's not too bad, gets his wheels a little bit on over the curb onto the grass a little bit as he exits out of Nelson. Through the bomb hole he goes. How's his sector looking? Look at that, he's only off by 0.06 of a second, so Talborg's definitely on it at the moment. He looks as though he could make it another THR 1-2. In fact, if he does get himself onto the front row, it'll be in exactly the order that they finished race 1, but we'll have to wait and see if the exit through Murray's there was enough to propel him onto the pit straight and get him towards pole position. We'll have to wait and see. Now, he hasn't got a help of a toe, but nonetheless he goes towards the line, and the tiny post across the line is going to be, oh, he is second, 121.740, so it is an all THR front row. We've got John Munro and Tom Eady currently 3rd and 4th. Dan Allison's currently 5th, he just said his time there. See if we can find any more drivers. Chris Butcher, I know definitely someone wants to try and watch. Let's have a look at him. Apologies for scoring there so quickly. Across the line he comes. And he doesn't start his lap, he watched him come out of the pits there. But Butcher then, obviously, if you're unaware of his winnings in the off-season of the Virtual Clio Series, he is, of course, the 2012 Red Bull Gridsters champion. If you didn't know what that was, it was a competition to try and find the UK's best sim racer or racing gamer across three different game. It was Gran Turismo 5, F1 2011 and Forza Motorsport 4, and Chris Butcher came out as the winner of that entire competition, and well deserved. He's one of the top drivers here in Touring Pro Series. He's definitely someone who proves himself on a regular basis in the World Supertech Series, and of course I believe also in Virtual V8 Supercars. So Butcher himself is a very talented driver, and I think if you looking at Butcher here, do you think he prefers the rear-wheel drive, or do you think he's having a tough time trying to get used to the front-wheel drives? I mean, he performed pretty high up there in the standings. He managed to finish 3rd in race 1. Do you think he's maybe just missing the rear-wheel drive, or do you think he's adapted to it quite well?
I think he's adapted very well, and that's a key sign now. He's actually quicker than the current pole position time set by Toby Davis. So Butcher's definitely a man on a mission at the moment, and you can say, I think he's definitely a jack of all trades. He's proven he can drive all different types of sims and games. But now we can see if he can drive Snetterton as well and take HR to a second pole position in a row. He comes across the line. Is this going to be pole position? Yes, it is. A 121.4. That's a tenth quicker than Miguel Nato, who's up there in P2 now. So Miguel had a stormer of the qualifying session. So once again, we said how important this second qualifying session is. It's great to see Ryan Callan up there as well. But there's still plenty to go as Ben Davis is on a lap. Is this man going to play a factor in the top 5? RTHR going to get another top 3 perfection run? Because right now it's looking like it could be anyone's game. As you can see, Eric Veit there is still yet to set a time. but all eyes will be on Ben Davis, because also this man will be very much not even trying to win, but definitely a podium and be a rear gunner. As you can see, Florian Strauss there also on a lap time. You've got Chris Hack as well, who he spoke very highly of, waiting for him to set a time, so left it very late. It'll be interesting to see if that's the best strategy. Of course, the track will have warmed in, and it should be just you versus the circuit, as the majority of the field will have completed their lap times, as we just wait for Florian to complete his lap. Then over the apex he goes. Got to be careful not to lose the back end through there, because it's a very quick flick right of the wheel, and you can so easily just let the back end step away from you, and it's so easily done. And luckily he hasn't done any of that on this lap, looking very tidy indeed. Bit onto the gravel there, shouldn't affect his lap too much. He's 7/10 off of the pole position time provisionally. Let's see where it's going to put him though. And whatever he's going to be, he's going to try and work for a very good finishing position. So he comes on to the final straight then. Let's see what Florian Strauss has got. He comes across the start-finish line now to complete his lap. Question is, where is he going to start in race 2 of the Virtual Clio season? He starts in 17th, and that's not ideal for him. We used to see him a bit higher than that, Florian, so definitely we'll be looking for more from the race. But right now, all eyes will be on this man, Ben Davis, as he looks to try and push something more out of the THR. He's going very aggressive over the curves as he comes on to the final straight. Is this going to be enough? Will we see another THR in the top 5 for the race 2 grid? He comes across now. I think this could be pole, but I don't think it's oh, he goes 10th. So Ben Davis, that's not where he wants to be. That's a very disappointing session for him. As you can see, Chris Hack leave as well, just in the nick of time. But I don't think he's going to get a lap in. Unless that was him coming down the pit lane, which would have been the reason why.
I believe Chris Hack has at a time. Quick check on my list here. He has. He's currently 11th at 122.242. So not as high as he possibly would have wanted. But there's some interesting names that they've got Karamadaru Bogdan up there, and the two AJR Motorsport cars, 8th and 9th. Dan Allison in 8th and Bogdan in 9th. You're currently watching Eric's right on screen. But at the moment, we have in top 6, we have 4 THR cars on the top 6, and also the split them in second place is Miguel Neto. Fantastic run from him, only literally a 10th off Chris Butcher's time. And also John Monroe is 5th on a 121.777. He's about 3.5 tenths off. So those who managed to split them, as here comes Eric's right then in the Ice Peak sponsored machine with the big Norwegian flag on the top, just to tell everybody just confirm what his nationality is. But right then, down the pit straight across the line he goes, and he manages to put his car 6th. So an excellent time from Dwight then. And anyone who's watched Dwight before any of the Touring Car Series, he does do the GPWC Masters and also the Sim Racing Online Touring Car Championship. You will know Eric Dwight is definitely, I suppose you could call him a touring car specialist. Someone who really does love his tin tops. He's very prominent in the wheel of a rear-wheel drive BMW 3 Series. I know that for a fact. I've watched him quite a few times, but it isn't a rear-wheel drive BMW. It's a front-wheel drive Renault Clio. Looks as though even if he switches to front-wheel drive, he can definitely get the best out of it, and that is a 6th place for him. So excellent stuff. I think also a few more cars coming through. I think Luke McDowell is not looking too bad. He hasn't even set the time yet. But let's just scroll through the times then, as we've got it on screen. So Chris Butcher then is on pole position by a 10th from Miguel Neto. Toby Davis is 3rd from Jesper Talbot, 4th. Then we've got John Monroe in 5th. Right 6th, Tom Eady's after 7th after what was a rather disappointing qualifying session for the first round. And then Diego Lopez in 8th, Dan Allison sits 9th, and then Karamadaru Bogdan and rounding out the top 10. Ryan Callan had a better qualifying session up to 13th. Chris Hack's down in 12th, just behind Ben Davis. Who again looks like Tom Nova's in there. Bradley Vanyan and Ben Warren are up there a bit more. James Johnson back down in 26th place. That's a bit disappointing. Obviously, we know him in the series is getting a better result than that, but seems to be doesn't really adjusting to the front-wheel drive cars as quickly as some of the others. Here are the standings then, and then just have a look at the standings. Do you think there's any surprises in there? Do you think you didn't expect to be in the top 10?
Well, look at I think it's a fairly consistent top 10 is what we kind of expected from it. But once again, Allinson establishing himself as a top 10 contender, and Bodkin right down there as well. So I think there could be some few surprises, not definitely just in the qualifying, but during the race for sure. You see Diego Lopez once again having a good job. John Monroe also a good run there, but it's the guys just outside the top 10. Callan got himself up to 13th, but I think the biggest kind of disappointment there will be for Ben Davis. He starts outside the top 10, and as far as I know, is the only THR driver outside the top 10 at the moment. So plenty of work for him to do. It'll be interesting to see just how far he can push himself up the field. But nonetheless, 4 minutes to go until we get the race 2 underway. On it, so James Johnson there, once again 26th for James. He's going to have a lot of work to do from down there. He needs to try and find something more as soon as possible. But just going through the order, it's going to be Timo Toika who's the man out the back of the field, just trying to snake them through and see where he can pick up the pieces. But nonetheless, it's going to be extremely interesting to see just who comes out on top here. We saw how crucial in the first race a good race start is, so hopefully we do see a mirror of that one. But the question is, can THR make it 2 victories from 2? More importantly, can that man be Toby Davis?
Absolutely, we'll have to wait and see exactly what's going to be done, so we can get this off the screen, so we can go ahead and at least look for another driver up here, so we can try and find someone out on track for you to look at. Here we go. So, yeah, that's better. And I was just trying to get the overlays on there for easy. Let's pop it onto the bottom there. So, looking at the grids then, I mean, would you expect more of the same for THR? Do you think that the likes of maybe Neto and again John Monroe, who did put in a valiant effort to stay up there in the top 5 for pretty much all the race? Do you think that we're going to see maybe some surprises in race 2 in the ceilings race?
It's going to be more exciting, I think, because there could not so much bad blood, but there could be some a sense of redemption to some of these drivers. Guys, Ben Davis, who signed down in 11th as well, wants to try and get the most from this car, but having a bit of a battle earlier, which did cost him a potential podium, would have affected his mindset, I think, and he would definitely be out for vengeance and try to prove to himself and importantly that he can get in that top 5, and we all know he's capable of it because he's done it so many times before, so we'll have to see just what he's capable of. But I think just outside of top 10 as well, Ryan Callan could very well become a factor in this race. He starts from 13th place behind Chris Hack, who is also has the top pace for a podium. But at the front, it's got to say right now that DHR once again not so much dominating, but they've definitely got this car where they want it. They've got the setup nailed, and the drag just seems to be coming to them. They're not having to force extra at their car or drive to maximum that they can. They're just forced to drive the job they know they can do, and in turn I think that's helping them, not only as a team but as individuals as well, because just look where I got them in the first race.
Can't say they're short support, and over the fact that THR, as I said earlier on, THR and Optima Motorsport have 8 cars entered each. It's definitely short of entries, but I see Tom Ely is just at the moment lapping the warm-up, and just to explain the purpose of warm-up, obviously it's one of those sessions that allows the driver just to get used to how the car runs on a race amount of on a race load of fuel. Just to practice the starts, modifying the bite point on the clutch as well. It's one of those sessions where you can use it just to fine-tune a little just the few parameters that are available to them in between qualifying. You see there Tom Ely cocking a wheel there on his Clio. That's another thing in terms of setup. These cars, I think one of the thing which sets that is that the settings on the suspension, because I know for a fact that if you set the dampers up to be very soft on the front and very hard on the rear, it will cause the car to, oops, what's going on there? Quick few cars in the background there, a bit of a tussle. But just go back to the point I was making. I think in order to get these cars turn a bit sharper, the front-wheel drive cars especially, one of the key things to do is to tune the dampers properly, because if you tune them the right way, it will give you more front grip, but of course that can affect tyre wear, it can affect the balance of the car as well, it can make it too oversteering, and also that's the effect you get. If you see these cars that, especially the British touring cars, you see them the cocking a wheel and things like this, but also if you see British touring cars, if you look at them, they do tend to carry more rear can on the front, and that's only because if the car's set up in terms of the oversteer rather than understeer, it's going to kick the back end out, and you don't want that in a front-wheel drive car. You want a nice stable back end on these Clios, especially because they're short, they're nippy, they can be quite a handle at certain times, and you have to be very careful you don't step out of line with them, because one false move with these things and they can just spear you off into the barrier and will take no prisoners with you. So these guys have to be extremely careful, and these guys can be just as dangerous to drive as a virtual V8 supercar or a Supertech car. They can be extremely deadly, take liberties with them.
Yeah, I think the best description to kind of put to them is they look so friendly on the inside. It's almost like a curry. It looks and smells so nice, but then you take one bite and you find out it's been kind of poisoned with some really spicy sauce or something. They can really be a handful, and you don't always expect it from them. As you see Tolberg currently in the gravel trap, and that's not the way he wants to be facing during the race as we get ready to head to the race. But I think that, just one tiny mistake or lapse of concentration, and as you said, it will take notice of prisoners in terms of flinging you off into the gravel trap and potentially a tyre. Well, hopefully none of these guys suffer that fate today then, as we head for race 2 of the Virtual Clio Season 3 here at Touring Pro Series. We're live at Snetterton, and we get ready to go underway for race 2, and it's going to be Chris Butcher who this time leads the field away. Of course, there are no caution laps, so this is just a straight foot alleviated slightly above the throttle, and it's going to be a test of reaction times. So as we get the field grid then, the question is who's going to be in the lead in turn 1. Can Miguel Nito shock the world and take a first Touring Pro Series victory in this field season? We've got 3 lights, we've got 4. And we're racing away, and Butcher got a lightning start there, but I think Nito got a slightly poor one. As you can see, the rest of the field stream into turn 1, and it's looking right now that Toby Davis may have just got the jump as they stream in. Through goes Butcher, Davis into second, Nato third, Monroe trying to slide up the inside there, maybe trying to get a top 5. He's currently behind Derek Savite, who's got a much better qualifying session. You can see Jesper Tolberg there as well. The rest of the field stream in, and it's looking like a fairly clean half a lap as they all go in towards the chicane. And I thought we had a bit of a glitch on the broadcast there, but nonetheless, so they all come streaming through, still looking very tidily tucked in behind one another, and it's been a dream start for Chris Butcher though, hasn't it?
Absolutely. Look at this is fantastic. Look at this 40 rather angrily sounding clears pounding down to the Bentley straight towards Rutland Nelson. Fantastic sight. As now it is Chris Butcher now taking the advantage here, leading now from Toby Davis, from Neto third, Talbot in fourth place, and Eric White actually got a fantastic run in fifth, right onto the tail of these 3. Then the rest of the field is the rest of the pack is headed by John Monroe, and look at this, all streaming through the bomb hole and through Coram for the first time. It's a wonderful sight, these things. The sound of these things is absolutely fantastic. But now through the Coram curve into Murray's for the first time. Butcher, look at the advantage he's trying to streak away already. This is fantastic. Comes across the line, and it's going to be him leading. Doesn't seem to be too much going on in the background. Oh, there's a few cars off in the background though. Who's that? Let's have a look. It looks to be. We quickly just flip back. One of them may have been. Let's look through the standings here. One of them was Darren Adams. Looking here, they've got Mike Bell and Heinz Petzold are now battling over what is now 16th place. Bell's now going to go to the outside. I think. Look at that 3 wide behind. There's a 3 wide battle going on with these new cars here. Bob Noby's in there. Alexander Rose, and there's cars off every which way. There's a car. That's one of the THR cars in the background. Who's that? That's James Johnson. Really in the mix of things at the moment.
Yeah, and I think he started when he first. He's got a lot of work to do, and he's just dropping positions right now. He needs to try and salvage something. Forces that one back off of Jonathan Ockerclence, I believe, so definitely trying to force a good result here back at the front. Butcher's got a mighty 1.8 second lead already on lap 2 as he got some side-by-side action there, and I believe you see some squirrely numbers out to Ryan Callan. That's P8. We said he could be a top 10 contender, as there you see Tom Ely once again getting in the thick of things. Chris Hack bringing the cavalry with him. You see Andrew Waring trying to force his way through that. I think that could be Mike Bell just behind him. You take a look at Waring now trying to catch down Hugo, and you can got Matsuski in front of him as well, followed by Chris Hack. So it's a great view. You can just see how close they get to each other without making any contact as they flow through, and it's an exciting train to watch. They're almost 3 wide through there, and that's going to be extremely interesting to watch. But somehow, he dives into the pit lane now. Has he got to stop and go? Has he got any kind of damage? This is going to be a bit crucial here for Andrew's race.
Battle still going on. This is Callan and Davis now battling into Richard's corner. Look at that side by side. There's a couple of cars going in front. That's Allison and Dwight. Now we've got Ben Davis in the THR cars. Looks like Talbot locks up. He's got a massive traffic jam of cars behind him. Looks like now Davis and Callan are going to tag onto it. So it looks like Butcher, as you said, has got a fantastic advantage. Look at the advantage he has already. At 2.5 seconds ahead of Toby Davis in second. Then we've got Talbot third. Neto is under pressure from John Monroe. We'll look back at him here quickly on the rear wing. Just quickly go forward here. On board with Neto. And the brakes underneath the bridge. And Butcher seems to be just streaking away, saying, I'm not being part of that lot. I'm streaking away. I want to leave this race from the front. That's exactly what he's doing at the moment. He's still a THR 1, 2, 3. But I'm just wondering now if Netlux and Neto, Munro, Dwight, Allenson are looking extremely hungry to try and make sure that doesn't happen again, and definitely look as though they're going to make a move at some point in the near future. On lap 3 at the moment, and it seems to be that THR have this race at the moment signed up, but of course anything can happen. We saw the battles going on in the background in the race before, but they're now coming down the back stretch. Chris Butcher sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:21.91. That's almost qualifying pace. That's wonderful stuff already for Chris Butcher. It's only beginning of lap 4 and he's already into the 1:21, so Chris Butcher is the man at the moment so far. We're looking now currently at Miguel Neto back into the straight wing. You're looking at the very hungry trio of Dwight, Allenson and Munro, Dwight and Allenson as they head in there.
And now going in through Dwight, and he somehow saved it. But that was a very risky, that was a perfect camera view as well. And that was almost like something you see out of a highlight reel. So here comes John Munro then on the attack of Miguel Neto. Looks to the inside. And is the question is going to make a move stick? He's currently looking like he's going to do so. It's a drag race into the corner. Look how close they are. Well, he's trying to hug as much of that track as possible and force Neto into a defensive manoeuvre. And the question is, can he get it? And oh, it's contact and a big side from Munro. Could this allow Arlington through? And it's not somehow. Munro saves that, but very risky maneuver. And that's exactly what this Clio Series is all about. So let's see what Munro can do then. He's still trying to chase down Neto, who both of these guys who said impressed us in race 1. They're doing exactly the same in race 2, now dueling away with each other. So definitely two guys to watch throughout the remainder of the season. Of course, we've got plenty of action still to come this season. This is only round 1, race 2. And Butcher has escalated his lead from 1.8 to 2.5 in the space of 2 laps. So Butcher really is flying. We saw his fastest lap, but this man really is running away with it right now, which is exactly what he needs to do if he wants to win this championship.
On to lap 5 there. It's still a THR 1-2-3 as we said, but now there's a fantastic duel going on between Neto and Munro. Just behind them we've got Allenson and Dwight battling over what is 6th place as they head into, and look at that, Allenson trying to go around, that's Dwight trying to go around the outside into the Montreal hairpin, but Allenson says, you're having none of it, sunshine. Holding for 6th place for the moment, but this is a great battle going on. We'll company go with that, looking now if we can. From the back, you can see that car number 833 there. The Ice Peak sponsored Clio right next to the inside. He's going to try and make that move stick. No, he backs out of it and wants to save his front bumper for the moment. As there's a lot going on in front between Neto and Munro there, just kept holding on for 4th place. And a lot going on. Fantastic stuff here, but look at the gap there. Chris Butcher, you see they're leading by 2.7 seconds. The two THR cars still in close proximity. It's Davis and Talbot as they were in race 1, but now they're 1 position less. It's now 2nd and 3rd as opposed to 1st and 2nd. As Munro goes a little bit wide, going through Coram, trying to chase after Neto. Have to be careful with these cars. It's like any other race car. If you stay behind these cars to get too close to them, if you go around a corner, you'll lose the aerodynamics. You'll get caught in the car in front of dirty air. That's definitely going to affect your handling as Butcher sets another fast lap of the race, 1:21.7. Excellent stuff from Butcher trying to extend his lead further, but the two teammates behind him definitely look as though they're not going to let him get away too far. They want to just keep him in touching distance, but the gap is though, I think is that Davis going a bit wide? It is, or is that might be a lag on our screen, I think possibly, but holding on for the moment. But let's quickly look back now from Jesper Talborg's car. Using this fantastic scrap going on behind with Neto there in the white, green and red car. Do you think that Neto has the pace tool to catch these THR cars? He's definitely just in there just about. The gap's about 8 tenths of a second, but do you think that the two THR cars are working together just to try and pull away from this gap behind, this pack behind them?
Well, it's definitely going to be a bit of motivation for them, seeing Neto just behind being very highly pressured still by John Munro and company. And it's a bit of a front bumper, I think, flying off. I don't think that belongs to anyone at the front. So right now, I think the main focus is trying to stay on the rear end of Chris Butcher for them, because right now Talbot's still lost a bit of time to Toby Davis, so they're fairly lapping together very nicely. And what they've just got to do is watch out for each other, I think. And now look at this, Munro's got no idea of that. He just wants to get to the front of the field as soon as possible. But Neto doing it. Oh, and a big scrum there. And a commentator's curse it could have been. Munro, oh, it's a bit of contact. Munro goes to the inside. Neto, desperate to not let him have it. Munro's still trying to get a slipstream into turn 1. Has he got enough time? Davis responds to the pressure set by Butcher. There's a 1:21.6.4 is the fastest lap, but right now Munro tries to get around the outside, and look at that. That's going to be Allenson trying to go up the inside, and that's an exception. That's a brave move, and somehow Munro holds on. This is exactly what this Clio Series is about. 2 moves, and there we go. Munro around the outside to Vite around the outside, and he can't quite get it done. and I think Monroe can't get it either. So these four going hammer and tongue at the moment, leaving it all out on this racetrack. I think Snetterton may never be the same again after this race, because all these guys just giving it their absolute all right now. Again, almost overtaking manoeuvres, but Monroe lost a little bit of time there as you take a look at Tveit now, trying to pressure Allinson. As they go into the left-hander, is it going to be enough? I think he may just try and go around the outside as they flip the cars right, and there's a bit of contact there, and round goes John Monroe, and luckily Tveit may just try and sneak through. Monroe's already lost the position there to Allinson, and is Tveit going to be the next man to capitalise? And that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. If you go for a move that doesn't pay off, you could easily start to drop down the order.
Fantastic stuff for the clears here. We're only on lap 7, begin lap 8, and it looks like Toby Davis is now trying to put the hammer down. You saw him set the fastest lap of the race there. Look at Tveit getting right close onto the back of John Monroe's car. He definitely wants to get on with this and try and move his way up through the field and get into the slipstream here with these three cars. Look at Neto, already trying to run away with this field. It looks like he's going to say, see you guys, I'm out of that battle, I'm off to try and catch the 3 THR machines. And you can come with me if you want, but we can battle amongst each other for all I care. As Monroe now goes up the inside of Allinson again. Wonderful pass through Riches, as it looks like that was Neto going a bit wide, but now he's Allinson going to try at the inside again. Look at Tveit on the outside of both of them. Is that going to stick? No, there isn't. There goes Monroe. He gets speared off into the grass there. And look, he's now caught up. Look at this. Ryan Callan and Ben Davis think, oh, a bit of that as well. We're going to try and join and spoil your party. And also Chris Hack in the background as well. So these, now look at this. It's now become two more combatant cemented battle here. They've now got Callan now trying to get up to the inside. Davis down, he's literally going to go with him. Twice going to attack from 2 cars here. You're going to have to try and defend twice as hard. It's twice the battle, and twice go around. There goes Callan, he's hit Ben Davis as well. There's contact between 3 cars, unbelievable. And Davis is spearing off, he's going to get back, and there's another car locking up as well. Now, who was that? That was Matsusi going across the grass as well. So it's chaos happening in the background of the field. In the background here, Mike Bell comes through just behind Ben Davis, and Tom Eli is coming through, and also involved by his THR teammate James Johnson. So it's chaos here at Snetterton at the moment, but these with the 3 THR cars at the moment are oblivious to it because they're up at the front and dominating proceedings so far. Neto, I think, is going to be pretty glad he was out of that trio as quick as he did, because look at that, he missed out on all that carnage behind him.
Absolutely, he's almost got a 2-second gap there to the man in 5th place, David Allinson, Dan Allinson, I beg your pardon, who's still come out unscathed. And now Monroe can't lose the action today as he now comes on to back of Madzuski. Let's see if he can try and get a move done. Now he's got a very different crowd, and he almost made a bit of contact there, broke very late indeed. And he's got to be careful. I mean, you don't want to get too aggressive, because we've already seen what can happen earlier with the Callan incident, who unfortunately got tangled up in that one. And Chris Hack said thanks very much, as does John Monroe, as he goes up the inside and repeats the saying thank you very much. But now he's got to be careful as well, because Bodgard is not too far away, and it's just going to be very sneaky now, because there's still plenty of trains of cars going on, and they're all going to separating out into little groups now. There's no one huge train. They're all being led by different people, but the most significant of them probably being this one here, the one just outside the top 10. So Monroe, Matsuski, Bodgard, and Petzold is there as well. Then you've got Mike Bell, Ben Davis, who's down to 14s after starting 11, and then Tom Ely and James Johnson, who's got himself up into the top 20s in 16s at the moment, and he's got a prime opportunity to try and get a bit more now. As he sees all this in front of him, he must be licking his lips, because he's now the hunter becomes the hunted. James Johnson is on the prowl, trying to get a potential 13th place, and considering from where he started, that could be probably the biggest mover of the day.
Be careful as well, because that's two of his teammates in front, and the last thing you want to do is take out one of your teammates. But he definitely tried to do what he can. The gap at the front seems to be, well, it's Chris Butcher now on 122.263 is the last time around. We can have a look at the front. As we see there, we've got Bogdan is now under attack from Heinz Petzold, as Monroe has now got past Suzuki. Then in front we've now got Callan. Chris Hack up to 2nd place. Where did he come from? He's definitely got himself amongst it. And also battle going on behind there was that it was Petzold on the outside of Bogdan. He squeezed him onto the grass. He just about has. Shuts the door and says, no you don't, Sunshine, I'm holding on to this 11th place just fine. And that quartet of cars behind, led by Mike Bell and another THR trio. But now quickly looking back at the front, and these first 4 or 5 start to spread out a bit more, except these 2 THR teammates here of Davis and Talborg. The gap is now about 10, sorry, not that far, look at the lap counter. 2.9 seconds between Butcher and Toby Davis. Looks like another 4/10 per second between Davis and Talborg. And then look at Neto as well. Neto is actually not too far away. He's starting to slowly close in. So maybe he can upset the THR party up at the front. keep an eye on that. 5th place is Dan Allison. Eric White is now under attack from Chris Hack this time. Then Ryan Callan in 8th place, and John Monroe now in 9th, recovering after his contact with Ben Davis, who's now in, for the record, down in 16th behind his teammates Ely and Johnson. We've now got Bogdan now under attack again from Petzold, just behind. Look at the trio, look at this quartet here. We've got now Bell ahead of the another THR trio again. And we'll have a look here. Look here now as we go down the pit straight, down the centre straight towards Riches. And you're looking back now from Mike Bell's car. There is Tom Ely. We've got James Johnson lurking behind. They went a little bit wide on the exit of Riches down towards the Montreal hairpin. And there goes, I think, Ben Davis down the inside. He lost his braking point completely. Oh, he's hit Tom Ely. We just said that's what you don't want to do, is hit your teammate. And he's just done that right there. He's interfered with one car on the entrance towards Montreal hairpin, and then hit the second teammate as you go through there. So I'm not sure if Ben Davis possibly suffering from a lack of front aero grip as a result of losing the front splitter, but he definitely was a bit reckless into the Montreal hairpin. But he's evening in the second race. He's definitely going from bad to worse. Is that Mike Bell going very wide? I think it was. That's now allowed Ely to go wide onto the grass. Look at, he's going to try and pass on the grass. That's incredible. Round the outside into the bomb hole. You made it stick. Not
no, he's built up again. That goes off, and in comes Mike Bell. Got to be careful now. Now another one's on the grass. I think that was James Johnson trying to make it three wide. Oh, them all joining away. Johnson sneaks up the inside to try and take it, and he just can't get it. James Johnson from 16th to 14th in one corner. Exceptional stuff there. Still going down as Tom Ely still joining away with Mike Bell, practically just side by side the entire time, and using all of the track and a bit more, and still can't get it done. So Mike Bell taking the word defending to a whole new level right now. As you can see, James Johnson back down in 16th, and this is just how close this train is. 1 minute he can be 12th, next minute he can be down in 16th. As you can see in the background, I believe that's Ocker Clint getting his nose in there as well, and he's going to be followed by Matt Richards. So you've got a huge clump of cars now. It's around the outside. Oh, it's contact! And now the lead, that was number 69, that was Tom Ely, who got hit again. He's now lost the front bumper after a heavy shunt into the wall, and he goes through Ocker Clint. And oh, that's disastrous there. But back up front, I think James Johnson probably came off better than anyone else there, as he's now got himself back up there into trying to get around those people. I think you can see that train really has separated out now. You can see Mike Bell still trying to defend, but this time Johnson has moved as we've said. Ben Davis up into 13th. Bell's gone wide. He's going to clobber into him, just about misses, and Johnson goes through as well. But I think that may be the end of Mike Bell's race. Can he keep it out of the wall? Yes, he can, barely. So he's done a very adventurous race today, Mike Bell, and somehow still in this one. He now tries to look up the inside once again of James Johnson, and these two keep joining away. There may have been a bit of contact there, I think, but Mike Bell somehow sneaks through the inside. This man is just relentless.
I think there was a bit of contact through Corn. Has to be very careful he didn't lose the back end of that car. And there's more duels going on behind it. You can see there's more stuff going on here. Let's quickly just go through the standings here so we can see. We've got Matt Richards, Tom Novi, Hugo Gonsalves, Scott Sovic is in there as well, and Darren Adams. So it's just fantastic about the clears. You've got so much of battles going on, so many slipstream battles going on throughout the field. And look at this now, we've got a fantastic duel going on here, what looks to be, or, try and work it out here, we're cycling through the field here. Some of the retirements have been surprised. Florian Strauss and Ben Warren are out, Buddy Vanyan's out of the race as well. This is now the battle for what is 6th place. Eric Twite, Chris Hack and Ryan Callan battling away in this place. We've got Twite currently holding that place in the Ice Peak. Go there, the pink core sponsor the Clio's behind. Then we've got the one of the TPS racing team cars, Alan behind. So we're on lap 13 at the moment of, I believe, is it 19 laps? Let's have a look. Yes, it is 19 laps. So wait and see what's going on there. I really couldn't keep my eyes. What I'm really tempted to see what's going on between the cars right behind as well, because of that fantastic train of cars we were looking at behind. There is currently Ben Davis pulling away. There's Mike Bell ahead of James Johnson. Asa Clint's now joining off the back of that as well. Then we've got this battle going on here between Matt Richards, Novi, is that Tommy in there as well? I think it is. He's battling over with Novi, and also Darren and Gary Lennon, who's also quite a prominent figure in the racing touring car scene as well. Scotsman definitely showing what he can do in the wheel of a Clio. Usually seen him at the wheel of a BMW 3 Series touring car, but he's shown what he can do with front-wheel drive this time. And now this wonderful slipstreaming opportunity he's got here. And now we're on board with Tom Ely. He's now got, I think, Darren Adams to his left-hand side. He's got it in front of him now, and there's a Gary Lennon in another of the Ice Peak cars. Going to go up the inside into Ridges. Answer to that question, yes he is, and he just holds on to the place now. That's now for 21st. Ely thinks, I'd Don't think so. I'm going to have that place back, I think, down towards Montreal Hairpin. Has he got the grip to break doing enough into Montreal Hairpin? Answer to that question. All the questions being asked here. Answer to that, yes he does. So now he's in Tommy back into 21st. So plenty going on in the midfield. Look at this. Now this battle going on here now between Mike Bell and James Johnson. And Johnson on the outside, giving it the big hurry up to Mike Bell down towards Brundle and Nelson. He's giving a bit of a heave-ho down towards the exit section here. There's more contact. I think Johnson got a bit loose onto the curb on the entrance through Brundle, but into Nelson as they go, and Bell holds on to the pace for the moment. So look at this battle still going on here between, you can cycle through here some of the standings here. This battle going on here between, quickly look, between Callan. Now Callan's moved up, we've got 2 places whilst we're looking at this battle there. So he's now into 6th place, Dwight's up to 7th, Chris Hack has lost 2 places in that position here. Without Dwight looking strong, grab 6th now around the outside of Callan. And he got the grip, I wonder. He has to stop backing behind the TPS driver. Now Dwight again darts out to see if he's big enough to try and make a move there. Walking up massively into the Montreal Hairpin. He's done the switch back, but there's more contact between the 2 of them. Banging panels, touching panels out of the corner there, and now this has put Chris Hack on the outs. This is for the inside towards Brundle's corner. They're going to go side by side, got a much better run off onto Bentley Straight, and now he's got the toe from Callan as well, so he's got a double advantage here as they head down towards the chicane. This is fantastic stuff, only for place.
Yeah, absolutely. Also another interesting fact there, as you can see Hack go up the inside very smoothly done there. John Monroe's down in P9, Butcher still leads 3.6 away from Toby Davis, but once again him and his teammate Tolberg going to have a ruthless battle to the end, I think. Separated by just 0.2 of a second with 4 laps to go, but right now all eyes are really on Ryan Callan as he tries to defend against Chris Hack. Hack found himself once again now back in a top 10 points position. The question is, will he be able to try and improve that? He's going to have to try and pass one of the most formidable drivers in the Touring Pro Series in order for that to happen. Let's see what happens, because right now Hack got a great slipstream on the back of Callan. He looks to the outside, does he? Yes, he does. Callan immediately ducks to the inside. He knows how to defend, but now he's of course going to be on the outside line into turn 1. Hack's going to try and smooth it through. Callan sweeps around the outside. Great defending stuff through there. Okay, such courage to break and try and sweep it around the outside. And now in comes Dwight, going to try his luck here as they go into almost a bit of contact. He's touched Ryan, and he's, oh my god, they're 3 wide. He's gone over the apex, and surely that's illegal there. They're trying to fight for a tiny bit of track space, and that was never going to work. And now this has enabled John Monroe to get right up to the back of them. He may as well get the popcorn out, because he's got one of the most exciting fights to watch on his hands at the moment, as once again now Hack looks to the inside of Ryan Callan. Question is this time he's going to pass him? Breaks just after the 50 mark, and once again Callan swoops round as they head into the chicane. I mean, it's looking right now, Callan is proving it's a lot of hard work there for Chris Hack and Eric Tveit indeed, because I think right now Chris is going to have his work cut out for him if he wants to try and make the pass on Callan. Question is, how long is it going to be? You've only got a few more laps to do it, and you're slowly running out of time. Callan knows this. All he's got to do is defend that inside line, and even on the outside line, he's managing to sweep it round. He's doing an exceptional job right now. Hack has to be careful, because if he does make a mistake, you see what happens here as Eric Tveit now gets unleashed down the home straight. Question is, will he be able to pass him? He's got a great draft going into the opening corner. Is he going to switch to the inside? If so, when? I think he's going to leave it this time. He's not quite close enough just yet, and the faint rear view there, you can see John Monroe lingering in the distance. But back at the front, that gap has separated. Hack goes a bit deep there, catches the apex too early. They're side by side now. Callan's in the way. They do almost a Hack and a Schumacher-esque move through Spa as they go into the next corner, and Tveit tries to swoop it around Callan in a switch position. He may have gone a bit deep into the chicane, but constant action here.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. And as you said, just lurking in the background there, John Monroe, he's been slowly tagging off the back of these 3. Look at that, he's almost in the slipstream with them. Just having a little look, just let him know I'm here, I'm still here, just trying to rejoin there. Look, he flashes the lights. So don't forget about me. I'm still here as Hack and Dwight go side by side into Brundle corner, into Nelson's, and Dwight holds on. Is Hack going to do the switch back? You can get the effects that he might do. And look at Monroe trying to get himself in now as well. He feels he's close enough to have a go now. As
absolutely, and off goes to
extremely wide.
And now he's got to be careful because John Monroe's there, and oh, that was close. They're still 3 wide almost as they go through. Monroe in the middle, Hack on the inside, Tveit on the outside, and somehow Hack holds on. This man just does not give up, and he doesn't want another race where he's forced out of a position. 2 laps to go here, and it's looking right now like he's going to have the race right till the very end, because right now it looks like Monroe's going to try his move. He's gained 1 position off the Void. Is it going to be 2? Hack has the inside line going into turn 1. Monroe's going to be after swooping it round now. Here he goes, brake very late, almost touching. Going to be so careful, and Hack almost goes a bit deep there, and Monroe has the inside line, outside line for the next corner. I beg your pardon, they're almost 3 wide again as Savai comes in the mix. Hack almost dwarfed there by both of them, and through they both go. And now just like that, he's lost 2 positions, and somehow Eric Tavai has gained both of them.
That was a great move, took advantage of both of them and just stuck up the inside and says, I'm taking this place, good night boys, I'm gone. But look at that, Monroe thinks differently. He's now up the inside, down towards Brundle, down the straight. He's got a much better run then, down up towards the Essie section here. And you look at that before he gets to the corner. Just straight line speed alone takes 7th place back from right there. Then look at Ryan Callan just running away with it now. And that's a bad exit from Monroe. The exit of Nelson, right back up the inside towards the bomb hole. And he goes through, he's going to take advantage. Dwight goes wide, so did also Monroe. There's a bit of contact between Monroe and Hack down through the corner. But there were 3 wide a lap ago. And down into Murray's corner, very tight left-hander now, which was Russell. They've now renamed it in honour of Murray Walker, which I know must have been Liam both aspired to. But nonetheless, I think if Murray was commentating, he'd definitely be losing his top with this fantastic battle that's going on here in the race. I'm going on the last lap, so I think maybe better quickly switch to our leader, who's really been pretty quiet out in front at the moment. There he is, Chris Butcher. But back from him here at the rear wing, and there, the small white speck in the background there is in fact Toby Davis is second. Looking through some of the standings, see where everyone else is. Tommy's dropped to 22nd. We have lapped a few cars. Team Toy Cup was 24th. Down into the S's for the last time. Chris looks like he's proving that not only is he good enough in Virtual Beat Supercars and in the World Supertech Series, that he can race in the front-wheel drive car. He was in 3rd place in the first race, and sure, as he rounds the final corner, he's going to make it another 1-2-3 for the THR boys unless something drastic happens. And looking back to see what else is happening between these guys behind, still Callum's holding on to 6th, Monroe still 7th head of Dwight and Hack. But it's this man at the moment, took a 3rd place now, he can kick off in the best possible way he can in race 2. Out of the final corner he comes, and to round out the festivities here at Snetterton, he flashes the lights and weaves in delight, and so he should, as Chris Butcher takes a dominant and deserved win here at race 2 in the opening round of the 2012 Virtual Clio Series. Look at that, a fantastic half spin, half J turn. It's another 1-2-3 for the THR cars. Miguel Neto grabs the 4th place. 5th place is going to be Dan Allison, and it's going to be Calvin 6th. John Monroe, look at that, manages to grab 7th, and then Spike will be 8th, ahead of Chris Hack in 9th. And then rounding out the top 10, look at that, Thomas Matusky, fantastic stuff from him. Bogdan's 11th, then Petzold 12th. Coming across in 13th is going to be THR's Ben Davis without a front bumper. And look at this massive gaggle of cars across the line, headed by, it looks like James Johnson. Yes, 14th. Then it's Mike Bell, Asserclint, Novi, Adams, Lennon, Richards, and a few more of them head across the line. So fantastic stuff from all of them. Tap down, see if we can take a look at more of them. And through they come. They've got Gonsalves and Ely. Toika's come through as well. And also, that's a fantastic evening's racing it's been for all of the guys here in the Clios. And I have to admit, Liam, it's been what a way to kick off the Virtual Clios for the first round, because it has been certainly 2 action-packed races all the way to this evening.
Absolutely, we've seen a highs and lows all the way through, and just about everything in between. Butcher, of course, just showing utter dominance there for THR. 1-2-3 once again. So it's a perfection run for THR, and Butcher, of course, very deserving of that victory. We saw all the action in the midfield, and Miguel Neto, I think definitely probably driver of the weekend today, if not one of the THR drivers, because he really has come alive and definitely established himself as top 5 contender. You've got Ryan Callan, who worked his way up there into 6th place, John Monroe in 7th, Tveit in 8th, so those all kind of sorted themselves out towards the end. You see Matsuski there rounds out the top 10. Ben Davis fought his way back to 13th place. James Johnson, I think, started in P26, but correct me if I'm wrong, and got up to 14th, so a great result there for him as the rest of the field comes through now. But I think we've got to admit that if the race 2 will be anything like this one, then we're going to be in for an absolute stormer of a season.
Most definitely. I hope we can chat to some of the guys who finished on the podium. I believe the 3 we'll be able to talk to, if we can, are going to be Chris Butcher and Toby Davis. I'm not sure if Jesper Talborg has a mic, they can join us. in the broadcast booth, but definitely it's been a fantastic season opener, and I think definitely a season that we're going to most definitely keep track of throughout the season. I know in fact we do in fact have Toby Davis in the booth with us, so Toby, nice to have you with us. It was not a bad start to the weekend, despite the fact you only just jumped in at well its bit, as also Chris Brooks has jumped in as well. We'll talk to him in a second. Toby, you started off with the first race with a wonderful victory in the first race and a second in the second race. And not bad considering you had hardly any practice before the race weekend started. So I think that makes the race win even more sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was spending the sort of a couple of hours before the race started, obviously sorting out the broadcast so everyone is able to watch it. I hope it's all recorded and worked fine. But yeah, I mean, taking race one and taking pole in race one as well. I mean, I couldn't have dreamt that one up. I only actually managed to get in a couple of quali runs before the first qualifying, so pleased for that. And of course, second position in race two puts me top of the championship, and I couldn't have dreamt for a better start for me and for my team, and of course THR as a whole.
Absolutely, it just looked to be a fantastic dominant performance by THR as a whole. You took a 1-2-3-4 in race one and a clean sweep of the podium in race two. I mean, is that proving just how is that more affirmation that THR is probably the most formidable team in Touring Pro Series and they're still a team to be feared?
Yeah, I think we are a team to be feared, but there are very strong candidates for sort of competition out there. I mean, John Monroe pushed us very hard in the first race. Chris Hack's up there. Ryan Callan obviously had a bit of a bad day today, but we know he's going to be strong later in the season, particularly at Thruxton. So there are still plenty of guys out there who can beat us and probably will beat us at some point this season. But yeah, I mean, me, Chris, and Jesper, we couldn't have dreamt for a better start. And it's a shame for the THR Nocturne boys, but for our other two teams, of course, it's been great.
Absolutely. Let's have a chat with Chris then. Chris, congratulations, you got yourself a third and a victory in this race weekend. Obviously, just affirming that it seems to be that anything with a tin top, you seem to be pretty handy with it.
Nearly everything, but not in the V8s. But I was slightly disappointed with race one. I should have done better in qualifying, but didn't. But I had a good race through the field to get third place. If I'd have qualified where I should have done, it might have been a bit better. But you know. And then race two was pretty easy, just leading away from pole. Just went to go and get the gap to the guys behind me so they weren't in the slipstream, and then just had to keep it on the track from there, really. But Toby and Jesper did a great job to get past NATO to take a clean sweep on the podium again, and like Toby's already said, great result for the team.
Excellent stuff. And it did seem to me that in the second race you didn't seem to be challenged very much. Was that just pure pace from yourself, or was it a team strategy that once you're in front that Jesper and Toby weren't really going to be able to challenge you? Was it kind of a team decision, or was it purely just your pace outright?
A bit of both, I think, to be honest. Obviously, I managed to get a good gap. I could have gone faster, I think, but I didn't want to damage the tyres and, you know, sort of jeopardise the end of the race. Toby said if he got to the back of me, he wouldn't attack. We all know what Toby's like, though. Yeah, so a bit of both, really.
Excellent stuff. If we can talk to Jesper, if he can put his mic on for us, he is in the room with us. Jesper, congratulations! You got yourself a second place in race one and a third place in race two. Just talk us through your race weekend as a whole. How did it go for you from your point of view?
Well, it went pretty well, not as expected, but just a very calm race, just following the other THR boys and then just cruise home.
Excellent stuff. And do you agree with Toby's comments that THR is the team to beat, or do you think that some of the other teams around you, like maybe TPS and the like, are going to be able to try and catch you? Do you think that THR are favourites for this season?
Well, at the moment, yes, but of course other teams can challenge us.
And just very quick, how much of a difference is it driving one of these Clios compared to something like one of the Supertech cars? Do you have to change your driving style very much?
It's very different, but I don't really change much of my driving style. It's pretty comes natural, I think.
Excellent stuff. Well, well done there, Jesper. Before we move on to have a chat with Ben Davis and John Monroe, just Liam, did you have any questions for our top 3 finishes in this evening's races?
I think you just about touched on everything. Obviously, THR taking a big step forward into trying to win the Virtual Clio Series. So obviously heading into race 2, you trying to do much of the same? Are you going to practice even harder, or do you kind of all like the circuit?
Who are you directing this at?
General director and Toby.
All right. Well, I mean, Snetterton's a brilliant track to start the season off. It's nice and tight, and will obviously will provide close racing. So and a couple of long straights as well. So it's a good start to the season. But I think we fancy our chances everywhere else. I don't know about you, Chris.
Well, I'm particularly looking forward to Poznan. I thought that was a great track last season. Me and Will did really well there last season. But yeah, I mean, looking at the entire sort of season, they're all tracks that we should be fairly decent at. We're not scared of practicing, and I've certainly got the commitment for this league anyway. So.
Brilliant stuff. And let's have a quick with John Monroe, because you definitely seem to have some fun out there in the clear. You definitely seem to mix it up with the front runners. And just talking from your point of view, it looks like out there you seem to quite enjoy those 2 races out there, John.
Yeah, it was great fun. Thanks, Scott. A fantastic battle with the THR guys at the first race. I really didn't expect to have the pace I did have. Like all through the week, I was struggling at first with not managing to get to the 22s at the very start, but then I have to thank Mike Bell a lot, because he sent his setup over, and somehow I found something and just got to know the track a bit better, and he showed me the way around pretty much, and it seemed to work, because I was setting some good laps in practice. Gained my confidence a bit, and went into the race. I was really hoping for a top 10. I had good pace, and I knew that with the pace I had, I could get a top 5. But my realistic aims were top 10, because I knew it was my first Touring Pro Series race, and I didn't want to have too high expectations. But yeah, it was really good fun. I watched some of the broadcasts from last year, and it looked like great fun. So I decided to sign up. So me and Liam actually went in ZRL Motorsports, but unfortunately Liam didn't manage to qualify. He had many other commitments, so I joined MTR, and it's just a fantastic series. I had a great battle with Toby in the first race, looking for a first or a second. I mean, I would have been absolutely ecstatic with a second or a third, but unfortunately, when I was coming into the hairpin, I think I got a slight nudge from I can't remember if it was Jesper or Ben, but I know two THR guys got past, and I was struggling. I started eating my tyres up, to be honest. I had no tyres by the end of the race, and I dropped back a bit. But as I say, I'm delighted with 5th, and yeah, it was a great weekend for me. I had very low expectations going in, and it definitely proved myself wrong, to be honest.
Brilliant stuff. And I'll just quick touch on, because you're on the Virtual Clio. So I know for a fact that obviously from some of the series that you've taken part in, you're more a driver who's more used to, in terms of touring cars, to drive something similar to the BMW 3 Series. And you do the Racing Online Touring Car Championship. Just similar question to I said to Jesper there. When it comes to driving a front-wheel drive car, is there much you have to do to change your driving style when it comes to driving that compared to a rear-wheel drive car, or is it just relatively the same, because they're both kind of like the same kind of format of car in terms of being a touring car?
Well, it's definitely not the same. You'd expect them to be reasonably similar. I know that obviously one's rear-wheel drive and one's front, but the Clios are completely different to any other car I've driven on rFactor or anything, and you really do have to kind of create. I think you have to kind of create a new driving style for the Clios. It seems like you can throw it into a corner completely sideways and get away with it, whereas obviously in the BMW, if you do that, you're mincemeat. But yeah, you definitely had to adapt my driving style. I was struggling a bit with the BMWs. I'm finding it quite hard to, be very competitive in them, and I'm not very good at creating setups or anything, so I rely on other people. But yeah, the Clios are very difficult to drive. But once you know how to drive them, and you know how to do the slow corners, which is what I'm having trouble with right now. It's all about just learning the lines, and yeah, anyone can be fast with as long as they have a decent setup. And yeah, it's completely different to any other car I've driven.
Frozen there. Oh no. Catch that question there, John? Or do you want me to ask you again?
Sorry?
Ask the question again. Just quickly, how do you rate your chances for Lime Rock? Do you think you can grab a similar result in America in 2 weeks' time?
Well, I doubt to be honest because I'm not naturally that quick a driver. I just seem to get it together this week. The track suited me, and obviously had a great setup from Mike Bell. But if I can get started with a good setup, and I mean I do know the track from iRacing Master Cup and stuff like that, so I do have a chance. As long as I manage to put in the time, I've got exams and stuff this year, so I'm not going to be fully committed. But I'll try my best, and definitely hope so.
Stuff, well done. And Liam, before I go to Ben Davis, any questions for your fellow teammate?
I mean, obviously, you know, it was great to see kind of, even though it's not under Aero Motorsports, John once again kind of just showcasing his skills and definitely, you know, kind of upcoming for the season. Do you expect it to be that kind of area in the actual races throughout the season and looking to potential championship? Do you expect to be in the top 5 for the majority of the time?
No, I don't, to be honest. I'm looking for a top 10. If I can get a top 10 in my first Touring Pro Series championship, I would be delighted. I know I showed pace that's could better a top 10 or possibly in the top 5 this week, but I don't think I'll be that competitive for the rest of the season. But I will hope, but I'm not going to get my expectations too high.
Excellent. Well done on your efforts today, John. Let's bring Ben Davis in here. Ben, thank you for being very patient. We left you to a last, and apologies for that. Last, but certainly not least. Ben, just talk us through your weekend, because it seems to be you had a very eventful in terms of 2 races overall, especially in that second race. Just talk us through what that was like to battle in the fringes of the top 10 there. You seem to be getting very busy and also got caught up in 1 or 2 incidents there.
Yeah, don't worry about the delay. It's probably given me a bit of time to calm down a bit. But yeah, no, I mean, I was feeling fairly confident before the weekend. I'd done infinitely more practice than I ever have done before for this event, and I was kind of on the pace. Second in the first qualifying to Toby was quite pleasing. I had a reasonable getaway the first few laps, battling with John and Jesper and Chris after that. But yeah, it just seemed everything was coming my way tonight. It's just one of those evenings, perhaps perhaps people just being a bit impatient the first weekend, first event of the series. People not used to the cars, perhaps, or something. I don't know what it is, but I was really just looking for 2 clean races, and if there was a move, I was going to make sure it was absolutely certain to get past. Otherwise, I was just going to pull out and leave it be. But yeah, that's the way it goes. It's a shame for Tom Ely as well. He's one of the quickest drivers in this series, and I know he had perhaps even more unluck. You know what I mean? He had more unluck than me. But yeah, hopefully we can rectify that at the next round.
Brilliant stuff. Overall, in terms of THR as a whole, just touching on what some of your teammates said, do you think that this is probably the best possible start that THR could have done, sweeping out the top 3 places and top 3 podium places in both races? Do you think that there's more to come from THR in the coming races?
Yeah, I mean, certainly it's a good start. I mean, the positions were pretty good, but equally, we got both myself and Tom Ely. Well, I'd like to think we were completely out of position in terms of where we finished. Also, James Johnson, I know, got caught up in a few incidents. So yeah, I mean, certainly it's a good start, but I definitely think there's more to come, and hopefully, as Chris said, we should be quick. I mean, if we all practice, which I think is probably the most important thing in these cars, because I find it very difficult to feel what's a quick corner. You have to try loads of different lines, and even if you think it hadn't worked, I find myself a few tenths up. So practice is very important, and if we keep that going, I think THR and hopefully THR Nocturne can be right up there throughout the season.
Brilliant stuff. And just before we wrap up, Liam, do you have any questions for Ben at all?
Just obviously, looking towards the remainder of the season, you had quite a varied weekend for you, but obviously proved to yourself and everyone else that you can, no matter from where you start, always try and muster the best of positions. Do you think that qualifying really is a big factor here in the Clio Series this season?
Well, perhaps judging by the kind of type of midfield battle I had, yes, I think it's very important. But equally, incidents can happen all over the field. But yeah, I think it is very important. Although, really, you should be able to, if you've got the pace, you should be able to overtake cleanly. But there you go. Yes, I think it is important, and I'll certainly be concentrating on that a bit more in my practice before the events.
Brilliant stuff. Unless there's any more questions, we're going to wrap up the broadcast here for this opening event of the 2012 Virtual Clio Series. definitely lived up to its reputation. It's been a fantastic 2 races of non-stop action. Apologies for the earlier broadcast problems. Did have some problems with the overlays, but we managed to get them sorted for race 2, so hopefully you stayed with us and weathered the storm, if you like, in terms of both the problems and what was going on track. But it's been a perfect race weekend, opening weekend for THR. With 2 clean sweeps of the podium and also wins for Toby Davis and Chris Butcher. And that pretty much wraps up our broadcast. In 2 weeks' time, you can catch the second round of the championship. 2 more races will be on the 19th of September at Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, 2 25-lap events. But then whether or not THR can hold on to that advantage, or the chasing pack can overtake them and eventually grab themselves a victory and the scores going towards the championship. That's pretty much rounds it up. This has been a Touring Pro Series broadcast for Multi-BC. I've been Scott Woodwiss, alongside me has been Liam Jenkins. For myself, Liam and everyone here at Touring Pro Series, thank you very much for watching. You can also see further broadcasts for the Supertech Series. I believe it's going to be coming up, possibly this Friday. Can you confirm that, Liam? When's the next Supertech Series broadcast going to be?
I believe it's the Friday after, and that'll be the final round of the championship as well, so you don't miss that one. Still plenty of time, so... yeah, so it's the Friday after this one, so beg your pardon there. So you don't want to miss that one. Still plenty to be decided, and it's going to be very interesting. So I think there's still plenty of action to happen there, and still a number of guys can win the championship. It's going to be Tommy Nilsson and, of course, Ivar Kalamies dueling out over the championship. So still, it's been a GT Omega lockout so far in the championship, but in terms of who's going to win, I think these 2 may see themselves as rivals more than teammates, but we'll have to see that one. So you can tune in live the 14th on that one, and also the World Touring Masters also comes up very soon as well, so want to keep tuned for that one. So until next time, so from me and Scott, it's goodbye for now.
Excellent stuff. I just very quickly just want to touch on that. I just remember one also thing. We do also have the virtual mini challenge as well coming up as well. So if you do want to fancy yourself as a driver, maybe in any of these series, if you like, of course, if you want to try and get involved in the mini challenge, head over to TouringProSeries.com. You can find out all the information on that, as well as information on all the different leagues. But yeah, just to echo what Liam just said for myself and everyone here, thank you for watching, and goodbye for now. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the next round at Lime Rock Park. Bye for now.